What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Everyday Ultra Podcast in this beautiful studio. First time, dude. And why are we doing it in the studio? Well, we're doing it in the studio because I thought that this accomplishment was worth it. Funny story real quick. I recorded an in-person podcast in my house, and my dog was going nuts. There was like things going all over the place, and I was like, this podcast deserves better because we're sitting here today with Kilian Korth, not only multiple time guest on this podcast, not only one of our amazing coaches here at Everyday Ultra, but he is now the course record holder for the Triple Crown of 200s. For those who are unfamiliar, 3 200-mile races in 5 months, consisting of the Tahoe 200, Bigfoot 200, Moab 240, winning all of those races in fashion, back to back to back to become the new course record holder. First time this has been done in years. Last time it was Mike McKnight in like 2019, which is crazy in like a place like, I think one of the reasons why this is so awesome is because we're seeing course records just topple like in many different races. And I think that speaks to like the advancements in new performance, studies and science and training, integrations and things, but to go out and do this is huge. And it's such an incredible accomplishment and it's so freaking awesome. So dude, so stoked to have you on. Congratulations and welcome back to the pod.
Thanks, Jen. Good to be here in a very professional setting.
Yes.
Yeah. I can speak to the crazy dog. Cute and crazy.
Yes, cute and crazy for sure. You got a little bit of the whole Simba experience. We call him Simba's the dog. Where I really want to start this out, though, I think it's so interesting, is before Moab 240, and at this point you had won Tahoe and Bigfoot, and got course record at Tahoe, got course record at Bigfoot, which I would say is the best Bigfoot 200 performance of all time, just given the time that you put out there too. But even with all those two things, you had about, 4,000 or 5,000 followers, somewhere around there.
Something like that.
And literally, after you finished Moab, it is now creeping closer to 40,000. So I want to just talk about that first and foremost. Like, what has that been like to have like a huge spotlight on you? You got shouted out by Cameron Haynes on his podcast. Andy Glaze has been like reposting you, like posting you shout outs. Like, dude, like you literally went just the whole night into a celebrity. And I'm curious, like, what has that been like?
It's been strange. Like, I don't know, for so many years, I'm like toiling away in relative obscurity, having races not go to plan and, we'll talk about it, but my documentary is going to be called Forged in Failure, and there's a reason for that, So it's like after years of like working so hard, and then to have like, it kind of was like all of my running career-related dreams came true within the space of like 2 months, which is just totally crazy. Joining Everyday Ultra, becoming a full-time coach. And then the social media stuff, like I wouldn't say I'm particularly talented at self-promotion or the social media side of things, but to have all of that happen and then like to be responding to, I don't know, dude, probably literally 1,000 messages, of congratulations and like just people saying extremely nice things. Like it's been amazing, like overwhelming in a good way. I don't know if there's a synonym for overwhelming that has like a more positive connotation, but that would be it, just like awash with positivity. Yeah. And it like pretty amazing in that regard. Like it's hard to believe too, just because it was like overnight almost in at least on the social media side of things, like day one of Moab, 4,500 followers, 10 days later, almost 40,000, After the race, I was basically at 30, and then it just kept going up day after day after day after day. My media team and I are releasing like more reels, and like I've been trying to be a little more engaged and stuff. So, yeah, it's definitely created a whole bunch of new opportunities and incentives in my life, and just has like given me this like sense of direction that maybe I didn't quite have before this year. Kind of approaching. I don't know. It's more like a life thing than it is necessarily a running thing. Because now I feel like I'm like, man, I get this. This now is a career. Like it's not even ridiculous to call it that. Whereas in previous years, I'd be like my ultra running career, and it was like not that. It was like it was like a really involved hobby. And now for it to actually be something is surreal, magical. Amazing.
Dude, it's so awesome. And it's like so well earned. And I think the coolest thing about this is like the social media thing did happen overnight. but the work did not.
No.
And that's what I think is the coolest part. And, you know, I know we've talked about this on our podcast before, but now you have like more eyes on you, more of a following. I am so curious to see if that people who are now knowing you know the journey it took to get here, right? I mean, the documentary is called Forge and Failure, and there's a reason for that. So kind of talk us through your journey. I know you've talked about it on the podcast before, but now by the way, we don't know how long this is for the people watching and listening, but we made this like an open-ended, like we're going to go deep into it. We've limited our conversations to an hour before just for the sake of time, but now we got all the time. So Forge and Failure, like talk about what that is and maybe what people who are unfamiliar of your background and like the journey that it took to get here, that it wasn't just, you know, sunshine and rainbows. Like it wasn't just like, let me just show up to the start line and stripe all these races. Like talk about that journey and what that was like and what Forge and Failure means to you. Sure.
So I want to start just by illustrating this with an anecdote from the past week or so. So I was on another podcast and the interviewer kind of said something, and I didn't take it as an insult because it wasn't meant as that. But it was, he said like, you know, looking at your ultra sign up, there was like no marquee results before this year, which is a fair statement, you know? And so, but the implication that I took out of that was sort of, it was like, oh, you came out of nowhere, you know? And I again, am like not offended. It was, but it was an interesting framing for me because of course to me, dude, it didn't come out of nowhere. And so with that in mind, like I, you know, started ultra running in 2018, quickly realized that what I wanted to do was FKTs. So I'm like, I want to get into long trail FKTs. I want to go for the Colorado Trail, like all those types of adventure goals, you know? And so I get to my first 100 and I'm like, okay, what's the intermediate step between 100 and FKTs? Like obviously 200. So, okay, let's go perfect the 200. So around that time, 2019, Mike McKnight's setting the record. He's breaking, he's winning these races by 10 hours. You know, he's crushing everyone. And so, and one thing about Mike McKnight that I find so inspiring and still do is that he's not like this genetic, like freak, for lack of a better word. Like he's not this like genetic monster of an athlete. Like he's a normal dude who is tough as nails and like is willing to put in the work to succeed. So immediately I'm like, okay, that's what I feel like I am. I don't think I have like, you know, I don't have the typical fast runner body, you know, like that's not what I look like. You know, I'm not going to run a 2:30 marathon, like all these things. So I'm like, okay.
You can run a 2:30 if you put the work in. Yeah.
Dude, oh man, that's a compliment, but I think there's literally no shot of that.
I think there's a few % chance. Yeah.
But anyway, like, I'm like, okay, so I'm not super fast, but I can grind. Like that's what I can do. I know that I can do that. And so I've got Mike McKnight as this example that I'm looking at. And so attacking the 200s, just seemed like the reasonable next step in my 100 to FKT goal, you know? And so I assumed in an abundance of self-confidence, overconfidence, now looking back at it, that I would take a year or two to tackle the 200s and then I would move on, you know? So 2022, I towed the line at Cocodona and, you know, I thought I was going to win. Every single time I've towed the line at a 200, that was my goal. I was like, I can do this, I can win. And so about halfway through that race, well, I DNF'd at halfway. In Fain Ranch, I tore my hamstring. I tripped, like spread eagled across a ravine, tear my hammy, and then run 27 more miles. Bad plan. Don't do that. If you're injured, stop. Tear my hamstring. First DNF ever. You know, horrible experience. At least the only good thing is like it wasn't even an option to continue. You know, there's like I couldn't walk. You know? And my calf was. It looked like someone had pumped my leg up with air. You know, it was so swollen. And I mean, I took at some point trying to get off, I took like 8 ibuprofen. I was like, dude, screw this. Like, I'm going to try to do anything I can to get off. I had a pacer come back up and meet me with poles from Jerome. So I knew I was already DNFing at that point. And that was brutal. 12 weeks off. Doing nothing, starting from scratch running, you know. My first run is 2 miles. My first week is 8 miles total, you know. So starting from as if I'm not a runner anymore. That same year, I come back my first race, 2022 DC Peaks 50, and win that race. Shout out to Jake and Mick, Next Aid Station. They're awesome. They're like lifelong friends now because of that race. So, you know, grateful for that experience. Like I'm like, okay, I've learned stuff. I'm going to move forwards here. 2023 Cocodona. again, I'm like, all right, I'm going to win this race. And for a long time in that race, it seemed like that was going to happen.
I remember following. It was incredible.
Oh, man. So I noticed breathing problems going into halfway. So I have this auditory hallucination where I think I hear voices in the woods, but it's actually the creaking of my lungs, you know? So it's like, and I just hear that. And I'm like, oh, that's probably not good. But I'm thinking it's just normal wheeziness, you know? It's dusty, it's dry, whatever, you know? Around Sedona, I start just like coughing up like blackness, like not green, not anything mucus colored, like black.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I'm like, this is a little more worrying, you know? I make it up Kasner Canyon. I get onto the plateau. I'm still in the lead. I actually managed to, you know, rebound a little bit and like run the Munns Park section. I do pretty good getting to Fort Tuthill. And then at Fort Tuthill, man, I was just a zombie. Like they tried to interview me on the live stream. And it was the only time I've ever said that. I just like looked at them. And I don't even know if I actually said it, but the vibe was translated and they like took some steps back. I was like, I can't do this right now, you know? Like I can't talk to you. And then I like crawl out of Fort Tuthill going so slow. My breathing is, you know, it's like a fucking death rattle. And so then in that Fort Tuthill section, I'm with my friend Blake who's pacing me. And it's like a complete physical and mental breakdown. So he's the whole time, we know Mike McKnight's catching us. And he's the whole time, he's like, dude, you got to find the gear, find the next gear. You can do this. And so for about, you know, a few miles, I'm like, I don't know if I have it, you know. And then finally, like my brain clicks and I start running faster. So we're going like maybe 15s and I start running 12s. So for about half a mile, I'm like, okay, I can do this. I'm still, my breath is awful. You know, it's like my lungs feel like paper bags that like a drunk person has dropped a beer bottle on the ground. There's like holes in them and they're like cracking, but I'm running, you know? And then we take a left and we start climbing and instantaneously first step uphill, panic. Like it's one of the few times in the outdoors that I've ever been scared, like legitimately scared. And because I couldn't breathe, you know, like I couldn't take full breaths. I couldn't climb. Normally I'm great at climbing. Couldn't climb. Everything slows to a crawl. And at that point, I assume I'm going to DNF, dude. Like, and I'm picturing getting to Mount Eldon and it's windy and rainy up on Mount Eldon and I'm in horrible shape. So I'm picturing getting up there, like unable to run in the cold. I'm like, how am I going to do this? You know, can't breathe. We're moving less than 2 miles an hour on flat all the way to Walnut Canyon. Like, you know, I'm just, now that I know what happened, it's like, imagine oxygen depletion from mile 125 to mile 220. All catching up with you at once. Yeah. You know, and so I'm exhausted. Everything's swollen. I can't think straight. So I like lay down to take dirt naps. It's freezing. I get up. I'm cold. I'm trying to get to the aid station. I get passed by like 7 people, you know. McKnight passes me at one point and is just like the nicest guy ever. You know, I'm sure he was excited originally to get into the lead, but you could tell like right when he hears my breathing because I'm sure he could hear it 3 switchbacks away. He was like, oh no, you know, something's really wrong. You know, it wasn't. If that wasn't, but that I'm not slowing down because I was, you know, quitting on myself. So then I get to Walnut Canyon, the last crewed aid station. My O2 saturation is 82%.
Oh my gosh,
very bad. I take a nebulizer treatment and sleep for 5 hours, and then I finish the last 22 miles. So I came 11th overall. You know, finished the race. Only time I finished Cocodona, and then later that night. I couldn't fall asleep. I'm coughing up blood. And then finally I like go to cough up blood in the bathroom and I'm looking at myself in the mirror and everything is hazy, dude. Like my vision is super blurry. And like not just because I wear glasses, you know, like normally stuff close up I can see just fine, but blurry. And so I'm like, okay, Susie, we should probably go to the hospital. And then I got to the hospital. My O2 saturation was 72%. Oh. And I still remember like getting that measurement and the nurse audibly gasping. You know, that's not a good sign when that happens. So I like had developed pulmonary edema. You know, my lungs are bleeding. My heart is inflamed from pumping blood through diseased lungs. Oh. You know, so lots of bad stuff happening. I, according to the doctor, make an extremely fast recovery from this. I mean, I'm a healthy person otherwise, you know.
How long did it take you to recover from that?
I mean, I felt pretty good breathing-wise like 2 days after.
Oh, okay.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Not perfect, obviously, but they discharged me 2 days. So not that bad. Only spent 2 nights in the ICU. Dude, side note, being in the ICU after a race, horrible place to be.
Oh, God.
Like, they wake you up every hour. They're blood testing you in the middle of the night. The first thing that happens when you're in the ICU is they're supposed to, like, look over your whole body and, like, note if you have sores and stuff. And so, dude, my feet are all taped up, and my feet are mangled. I didn't know how to take care of my feet at this point. So they start ripping off the tape from my feet. And I was like, no. Please don't do that. Like, please don't touch my feet. I'm, like, explaining what I just did. I'm like, my feet are not the problem, I promise. So they left the tape on my feet, thank God. But, like, I wasn't allowed to eat for a long time. In that race I lost like 16 pounds.
Holy crap.
And I think it was because, your metabolism's cranking, and I couldn't eat for more than 24 hours after the race. So my body just ate itself.
Yeah.
So that was obviously, not the best experience. I mean, I finished, whatever, almost won. I guess in some way I like proved to myself that I could compete, but it still is like close, but no cigar,
Yeah. Were you like at this point, like where was like kind of your mind on the path, like where you wanted to be? Like, are you still like how like going through 2 times at Cocodona, not getting that result? Like and the reason why I want to kind of talk through this, like, cause I think that a lot of people can relate, like going through big goals like that, sometimes, there's multiple times, right? There's the one time you had the DNF and that was like out of there. And then the second time is like tough too. Like how are things feeling like mentally at this point?
I mean, at least this time, I had a real excuse.
Yeah.
Not like an excuse,
right,
but like a reason.
Yeah.
Like the implosion didn't happen based on a mistake.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I felt good about that. And I was like, dude, and in my head, I'm not a should have been, could have been, would have been person.
Right.
But obviously, if I hadn't had that issue, I would have done better in that race. Would Mike McKnight have caught me? Who knows? I'm not in the business of speculating, but I wouldn't have gone from 1st to 11th. I'm pretty confident in saying that.
And
I mean?
I remember tracking you, and you had a very sizable lead.
Yeah.
Like most of the times, if I'm remembering correctly, I mean, you were up on the second place person 8-10 miles, like very far ahead.
And I mean, if you're just thinking about, I was being affected before halfway.
Yeah.
So more than half of the race, I'm getting less oxygen than I should be getting. So do with that what you will, and I was at least able to use that to be like, okay, like I can be competitive.
Yeah. So it was like a net positive, like across the takeaways.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
I agree. Yeah.
Especially because like I finished,
Yeah.
And I think even though I would not finish that race again if I knew what was going on, just because I don't want to permanently scar my lungs,
right.
But I do think there's like, I gained some respect from people for finishing that race despite having that struggle, Like I was on a couple podcasts afterwards and people were just like, "Oh my God, like that's crazy, dude."
It is nuts.
And I mean, I didn't realize at the time, how bad an O2 saturation of 82% is, because my brain's barely working at that point in time. But then I did like a little bit of Googling. I'm like, "Oh, like you're like dying at that point, like that's really, really, really terrible." So yeah, I mean, overall positive in terms of what I think it means for me in my career. I'm like, okay, we're moving forwards here. Later that same year, so still 2023, I ran Bigfoot. I overtrained going into Bigfoot. I got obsessed with doing like 10 to 12 hour days in the mountains, and I was doing one of those a week. Like too much,
So much.
But so I was just tired entering that race. It was like and that is just a mistake.
But you got on the podium.
I was 3rd overall, second male, and it was progression. It's like a race kind of it went mostly to plan, although I just didn't feel that good. Fine. 2024, I'm going into 2024 thinking I'm going to do the Triple Crown. I actually reach out to our mutual friend Alyssa, and I'm like, so I feel like Cocodona is awesome. Like, I want to race Cocodona. Do you think I should race Cocodona? She's like, no, you shouldn't race Cocodona. Like, just do the Triple Crown. And then 2 weeks later, I sign up for Cocodona.
What made you want to sign up for that?
I mean, dude, it's McKnight, String
competition.
Bean,
that was
Suberitas,
the chase year.
Yeah. Jeff Browning. And I was just like, I don't want to miss out on this. Like I think I can compete with those guys, and this is the chance to prove it.
Because like the competitiveness at Cocodona versus the other 3 is
not comparable,
night and day. And then that was the first year I feel like it was pretty competitive on the other ones, but like that was the first year where it was like the marquee race, where people were looking at that field like, this is a race that is up there with the big names of even just the hundreds, right? Your Western states. Like, it was insane.
I mean, you got 5 to 10 guys at least who could have
won.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was hard to say no to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I entered that race and then have the same breathing issue, DNF at mile 150. I didn't push myself to the breaking point in that race. And so my mind really beat up on me afterwards. You know,
Was that the hardest one? Like
no, we'll get to Tahoe after that. But that is Cocodona is the race where I wrote that article that I sent you after you DNF the monster. What it's like to DNF.
So good for anyone listening too. I'll link that in the show notes. Excellent read for sure. So good.
Yeah, I'll have to repost it on my Substack because my old blog is no longer alive.
Oh, true. Yeah.
But and so. You know, I didn't push myself to the breaking point, and I had the breathing issues, so it was the right move to stop. You know, it's like I don't want to scar my lungs. You know, the doctor specifically said he's like, don't do this again. You know, like you're fine this time, but you could hurt yourself permanently. And like I want to have a long career, all the things. You know, so intelligent to stop, but not having pushed myself to the limit, my brain is just like. You're a piece of shit. You know, like you think you can compete at these things. Look at this series of events that shows otherwise. You know, look at you going into this race with all these esteemed athletes and just failing in front of it's not even in front of everybody. Like the live stream, whatever. It's just in failing for yourself. You know, I'm my biggest critic. I don't care about it's not about failing for others. I mean, there's a piece of it where you're like, I can't believe I wasted everybody's time who's pacing, coming out here. They all traveled. They paid to be here. My brother ran with me and wanted to pace for me, and now we just walked this flat section, and it took forever because I can't run, you know? So plenty of just like downers following that. And so I managed to like turn it around a little bit. I have a decent little through a couple weeks of training before Tahoe 2024. Tahoe 2024 going pretty well. And I'm in second place. I'm a ways behind Harry, but he's slowing down, so I'm catching him. And then after the second turnaround, so mile 130, I'm coming back, and within 20 minutes, nothing happens. But within 20 minutes, I'm running fine, and then I can almost not walk. Like, so something happened, but there's no moment. There's no, like, I didn't trip, I didn't do anything. So just all of a sudden, everything's, like, burning my knee, my right knee, and I can't walk. So... You know, spend a bunch of time at the next aid station trying to roll things out, blah, 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 sleep, take ibuprofen, do all the things, and it's just not working. And so I DNF there. And then that turns out to be a hamstring strain. So again, I think correct decision to stop, you know? Like, should I have kept going? Like, maybe I would have been able to hobble it out, but what if I tear that hamstring? What if I tear something in my other leg compensating for it? So again, correct decision. But it being just a strain gave my brain the excuse to be like, you quit on yourself, man. Like, you know, people have done harder things with worse injuries than this. Like, this is barely an injury. Like, you didn't tear anything. You didn't actually get your body to the limit again. And so 2 failures in a row, 2 huge signs of like, you're not capable of what you think you're capable of, you know? So I was not doing well mentally in the wake of that. Like, it was pretty tough, you know? And I was really thankful to have Susie in my corner, my wife, Susie. You know, she knows what to say in those moments and, like, has unfailingly believed in me for whatever reason throughout all these years, you know. So amazing to have her there. But I immediately pulled out of the Triple Crown. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm doing the Triple Crown. I'm not doing Bigfoot and Moab. Like, that's not the reason I'm here, you know. Yeah. So immediately pull out of the Triple Crown and just, like, totally reevaluate my year, totally reevaluate the way I'm approaching the sport in some ways. And I didn't actually know it at the time that that's what was going to happen, but that is what happened, like from a mindset perspective and from a training perspective.
Yeah. And in this point too, I think it's like, talk to us about how you navigated through that. And I love how you, in that article that you wrote about the motivator, because I think that concept is so powerful. Like when I read that after I had my DNF at Arizona Monster 300, like that hit so deep.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a powerful concept because I think every single person who faces failure in some part of life has felt that. Talk to us about like that whole experience, like what was going through your head at that point, and how did that motivator play that relationship in there? Because I think this is like, when I read that, I was like, dang, like this hits. So like, talk to us about that during this time when, you know, after Tahoe and going through all these races, like what was that like? And explain the concept of the motivator too, because I think it's so good.
Yeah. So in that article, What It's Like to DNF, I talk about the voice that I'm sure if you're an ultra runner, you have this voice. If you're a motivated person in anything, you probably have this voice. And it's the voice that gets you out of bed in the morning when you don't want to, you know? So it's the voice that's like, don't be a bitch, you know? It's your like little mini personal David Goggins in your head, you know? But the problem is you can't shut it off. So when you're training and when you're motivated and you're pushing for something, like it is helpful. It's the thing that's helping you to get there, you know? So at that point in time, it's your best friend. But it has no off button and it has no empathy. So when you fail and you can't train or you need to be taking rest, it's saying all of the things that it would say to you as if you were just being lazy. So instead of being helpful and motivating, it is just like, you're garbage, you're a failure, you're a coach, and you're telling other people what to do, and you don't even have a handle on your own shit. Like, you can't finish a 200. Why do you think you can win them? You know? So this voice is just a bull in a china shop. It is just going around with a sledgehammer at your self-esteem and your self-worth, which, you know, you don't want your identity tied up in running as much as mine probably is, you know? So there's a balance there. But it's going around to all the things that you hold valuable and to believe about yourself, and it's just shattering them, you know? And it's like your greatest strength as a person with toughness and grit and perseverance, but it's also your greatest weakness as someone who's trying to love themselves. And so it is really hard in those moments to just like wake up. And even like I'm normally a pretty chipper, happy person, but I'm waking up and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm going to have another day living with this motherfucker in my head, you know?
How long did that last, that kind of period?
It was probably 2 weeks, you know, 2 weeks after the race until things started to turn again, you know? And part of it is you just have to go through it. It's kind of like in a low in a race, you just have to embrace the low. And at this point, I mean, I know how to meditate. So I was doing a lot of meditation and just like attempting to kind of remove myself from the trap of just like being in the conveyor belt of thoughts, you know, in like all movies when there's like, you're on like a conveyor belt and you're going towards the fire. Like that's what it felt like, you know, it's like the blades are falling and you're just like trying to escape them.
That's a good analogy.
So I'm like trying to get out of that. And really what happened is I managed to reframe things, you know? So I think the biggest lesson coming out of all of that is that we have all of these concepts of binaries, you know, these dichotomies in the English language and just conceptually as humans, you know, black, white, up, down, left, right. Like those are opposites. They're mutually exclusive of one another. Whereas failure and success, we might think of them as antonyms. We might think of them as opposites, but they're really not. There is no success without failure. I mean, can you think of a single successful person who's never failed? I have one, and Alexander the Great, but he was born with a lot of silver spoons, you know.
And he was a 101 for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah,
dude. So that's the only one I got, and I'm kind of obsessed with Alexander the Great. I have a tattoo of him right here.
What makes you obsessed with him? Like what's?
Dude, I don't know. I read these historical fiction books when I was a kid, and ever since then, I'm just like, that's my guy.
That's awesome. Yeah, but it's a true point, like what you said too. It's
dude,
like there's no success without failure. Yeah.
Michael Jordan, Cristiano Ronaldo, Jeff Bezos, like just name someone who you can think of as successful anywhere.
Even ultra, Jim, Courtney. Yeah.
Dude, Van Gogh cut off his own ear in his life and was never famous. Everybody hated him and thought his painting sucked. And then he died and becomes famous. Like that's a real bummer, you know? So like anyone who's successful is tasting failure. And so failure really it's a stepping stone to success. It's a part of it. Those are inseparable concepts. They are not opposites. So that's what I really learned going through this. And so kind of figuring out how to reframe this is like, okay, I'm going to learn stuff from this. You know, like I'm going to have a valuable experience rather than just be beaten into the dirt by the motivator, you know? So I managed to like twist it around a little bit, which is once you're kind of out of the hole, you're like, okay, cool, I'm doing better.
Yeah. What would you say, like, were some of your biggest lessons, like thinking of all those races, your journey, your training? Like, what do you feel like were the biggest lessons that you extrapolated from that whole kind of series of events?
Honestly, the biggest one is, it sounds sort of trite and simple, but you need to have fun. Like, the reason we all do this is because we love it, right? And in 2024 specifically, I had zero fun at Cocodona. I'm running with Jeff Browning for 7 hours, and I should be having fun, dude.
Just because you're locked in,
no, it's not. It's not being locked in. It's locked in a negative way. It's like being locked in a cage. You're locked in your own like your egotistical self-conception of yourself. So it's not locked in from like being in the zone. It's like I'm going into it thinking, what can this race do for my career? Which that's just a scummy way to think about things. Like that's not how this is going to work. You have to be process oriented, not outcome oriented, and the process will lead to the outcome. So I'm going into 2024 Cocodona and Tahoe thinking like, what can this do for my career? I DNF Cocodona, and then I'm like, oh my god, like this is the Triple Crown's my last chance. Like what? Like I'm almost 30. Like what a loser I am if I'm not do where I think I am at this point in time. Like all this arbitrary garbage that's self-imposed. So the biggest change I've made is like every single race this year, the first 60 miles at least have been a blast for different reasons. But I've had fun, dude. And I've been relaxed going into them. And so I've allowed myself to have fun, So it's not all business. And it's like, it is all business, but it's not, because my business is fun. You know what I mean? Like, I love this. I love exploration. I love moving through beautiful places. I love running, I even love road running, even though it's not like, am I going to pick it? No, but I love movement, dude. Like, so, there's just days you don't want to get out and you feel like all of a sudden you're in a flow state. And so just embracing all these aspects of the sport that I love just totally kind of like reinvigorated my mind more than anything else, because I don't think I did too much wrong training wise in 2024. I think I was unlucky with a few things, but there were some training stuff that I changed too. So after Tahoe 2024, I decided to sign up for some shorter races. So I run Mogollon and I run the Red Rock 100K later that fall. For those races, I'm focusing on some speed work. I'm changing up my fueling strategies. So, David Roche wins Leadville that year and talks about, all the high carb stuff. We can talk about diet at some point because I think I have an interesting strategy there. But during races, I bump up my carbohydrate intake. For Mogollon, I'm doing 60 to 70 grams of carbs an hour from probably like 30 grams of carbs an hour. So really
You're doing
low.
like 30 like originally like in those other races?
Yeah, really low.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Holy Toledo. And yeah, I mean, but like you were still performing well up until the unfortunate circumstances, which, holy crap, on 30 grams of carbs is impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I was a fat burning machine, but you're still not optimized.
Right, because your body's still burning some sort of percentage of carbs.
So, but I'm changing up my fueling. That's also when I started getting my aid stations really fast. So like Mogollon, dude, no aid station was more than 2 minutes.
Crazy.
Except for one. I guess there's one, but I went to the bathroom. So it's different. I win Mogollon. That's my first win in a race that has any sort of notoriety. So it's cool. Win Mogollon, decent time, have fun, all the things. Red Rock, I do 100K. 100K is the worst distance of all time.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm aiming for my goal is a 9:30, and I almost get there. I took a wrong turn. Either the course was vandalized or was marked incorrectly, but wrong turn. I run a 2.5 or 3 extra miles in the middle of the race. I was so upset about it at the time because I was like on the edge of my goal time, and then after that I'm like no, like now it's out of reach. But even in that race, I managed to I was like, it's not out of reach. Like this is a good thing. Like now you're just going to finish and it's going to be even better, So I got to an actual 100K in like 9:39. So really good. I was really happy. I've never done anything runnable and fast like that. And then I finished the race officially 10:05. So solid, happy with that. I'm faster, Going into my off season, I'm like, all right, we're going to crank strength and we're going to crank speed. So that's my plan for this off season too. But it was new for me then. So I really pushed it in the weight room. I mean, I got up to 3 sets of 8 back squats at 275, which that's like reasonably good. Very
more
good.
Than reasonably. That's very for a runner too.
Very good for a runner.
Yeah,
for sure. And so then I got up to like 3 sets of 8 around. I think it was 295. I didn't quite get to 300 for deadlifts, but so I'm lifting heavy, and I enter 2025 just like strong and fit. Like easy paced runs. So zone 0.5, zone 1, like heart rate 120 or below. Went from typically being like an 850 to a 930 to like 740 to 8 minute. So within a year,
Yeah.
So just 1 year of working at being fitter, like got that easy pace almost a minute a mile faster.
It's crazy.
And like it was surprising to me because I'm like going out and just cruising, breathing through my nose, and I'd look down and be like a 750 pace, which never happened to me before in my life.
Was that just because, like, do you feel like from a training perspective, because you hadn't done as much speed and then focusing on speed in that period, it's kind of like your body has been so used to that low intensity stimulus. Now you throw in that high intensity stuff and your body's like, oh, like this is some like just big, like new adaptation that we're kind of putting in.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And then I think being really strong going into it with it helps because, the strength and the speed, I think both coexist to make you more efficient as a runner.
Yeah.
And so,
I mean, it even shows like better running economy, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
So like I'm strong and I'm fit entering 2025 and I feel so good. Beginning of 2025, I actually did have like a little flare up of runner's knee. It was very frustrating.
We were going to train.
Yeah.
And we were going to go. Yeah.
I know. It's so annoying, dude. I actually think that it worked. I think that was a benefit for me in the long run because it meant that I had to start training for Tahoe a month later. And I think that potentially worked out to make me less fatigued for when Moab came around. Who knows, but that's what I told myself. Might as well take a positive out of this thing that at the time was a negative, But going into Tahoe, like, best training block I've ever had. Like, I mean, just like looking at my Strava was so satisfying every week because I was going and training in Uray and just best time, but every week, all the segments would be best times. And they're part of long runs, It's not like I was going out there to hit them. And I'm like, it was so good. So, I mean, all of the DNFs, all of the failures led to changes. I think the biggest one was mindset. I do think that had the single biggest effect. But the changes in fueling, the changes in training focus, being the impetus to be more mindful of your body and give it a little bit more appreciation and rest, all of those things, we just like worked together to create what ultimately became a really good 2025.
Yeah, and you say like the mindset shift, and I know like the fun was kind of like a really big part about it too. Was there any other like key mindset shifts like on top of like the fun thing that kind of changed you? Which, by the way, for people listening, I think that's so awesome because people who listen to the podcast, and obviously you and I are coaches, like people will come to us for like performance benefits or, training integrations or interventions or trying to get better training. But like literally the biggest shift was the mindset, which I think is just so, and that's something that people can do, I think, relatively easier than like trying to implement like a long thing of like speed work and things. Cause like those are things that theoretically like you can sit down and kind of just do, right, and work. So like the fun part you mentioned too, like were there any other like key big mindset shifts that you think really, really helped?
I mean, the fun is definitely the biggest one.
Yeah.
That leads to greater generosity with oneself. So being more loving towards yourself, one of the techniques I used when I DNF'd was I pictured a runner I admired, and I pictured our friend Alyssa Clark, so I pictured her, and I pictured saying the things that I was saying about myself to her if she were to DNF. And not only would I not say those things, I would never think those things. Like when you DNF the monster, there wasn't a moment where I was like, God, Joe brought me out here. I can't believe it. Like, what a loser,
But I was saying that to myself.
Totally.
Yeah.
But it would never cross my mind to say that about somebody else. And so, like, why am I being so much nicer to you than I'm being to me? So, like, that was a legitimate moment of kind of realization. I was like, oh, shit, like, I'm being a dick to myself. You know what I mean? So that was another, like, actual, like, sort of technique that I used is I was, like, literally picturing someone I admire, And then it was also once you've tasted the failure, and it's bad, it's a freaking bitter, it's not good. You don't want to go through failures, but once you've hit, it's not like I don't want to be dramatic and say hit rock bottom, but once you've been in those lows, in those doldrums, you realize it's almost like falling when you're running downhill. Once you fall a couple times, you realize you're not made of glass, And so once you fall a couple times, big perspective, you realize you're not made of glass. Like, so I'm like, okay, if I go into Tahoe and I fail, that's what it is, dude. I'm going to get up. I'm going to try again. Like I'm not someone who's going to quit on myself. And so there was another piece of that just made me more relaxed. It's like you you have to accept the longer you go, there's fewer variables you can control. Marathon, 80% of the variables you can control. 100-miler, 60%, 50%. 200-miler, dude, I think it's 30%. You know, maybe 40%. Depending on the day, because weather will play a role. We'll talk about
Moab,
whether
baby,
we get to Moab.
And then Tahoe obviously has its own spice. Yeah.
So there's like things that you just have nothing. You know, and you have to let go of those things, and it makes it easier for you because when you think you can control everything, you're trying to focus on 100% of it. You're trying to focus on the whole pie graph. But then when you realize you can only control 30, 40% of it, your slices of pie that you have to manage are much smaller. So then you go into this race and you're like, oh, I don't have to do that much craziness because I'm only focusing on this 40%. The rest of it, your competition, the unforeseen variables, that's all just going to happen. Embrace it. You know, embrace the unknown. That's what this whole sport is about. We're all testing our limits. What is that limit? You know, someone at a backyard ultra is going to find it and collapse as they leave for the next loop, and we hope that doesn't happen in, you know, a fixed distance event. But you're going to, like, what's the limit? You know, who knows? And you just have to be comfortable in that, you know, limbo.
Yeah, 100%. And especially, like, you know, that's a really refreshing thing for someone who wants to go out and win, right? Because, like, for you to win, that the other variable is the competition, right? Like, that is a requirement for the variable out there. And to even just accept that is an uncontrollable out there is a big thing to think about, right? Yeah. And knowing that it's not there and you just focus on the best effort that you can put on the day, like that's going to help you to get to where you need to be instead of focusing on, well, who signed up on the start line? Like, where are they at? Like, because someone could run out really hard and like maybe their plane is just not great or they're running too fast. And if you get caught up in that, and that can totally screw up the race. And so, yeah, it's one of those things I feel like in 200 miles it's essential whether you're competing or not because there's so much that can happen that is completely out of control.
Yeah. I mean, I used to be the type of person who would like go through the ultra sign up entrance list and I would like click on people and I'd be like, is this guy a threat? Nah. Is this guy a threat? Nah. Yeah. And I mean, it's stupid to write people off because you don't know that person. Dude, they could have, like, if someone's looking at me, they're like, dude, this guy DNFs everything. He's not a threat, you know? So I like another egotistical thing. And now I don't look at the entrance list at all. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'm racing against whoever. I'm racing mostly against me. Like, I'm racing against my limits, you know? And so, yeah, it's like once, and this is a daily life thing too, dude. Once you accept that most of this is outside of your control, and by this, I mean this, like all the crap going on in the world and so much of really what's happening in your life, you can control slivers of it. And so if you focus on those slivers, you're good. But if you let your you know, the area you think you can control get too wide, then you're like, oh my God, everything's chaos. You know? And so it's both in a microcosm and ultra running, you have to focus on the controllables, but for life, dude, it's so easy to get sucked into like, oh my God, what's happening in this far-flung place in the world? I can't believe it, blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, how does that affect you? It doesn't. Yeah. You know? Focus on your life. Make your life better, and that's how you're going to be a better person for the other people in your life.
Yeah, because like when it's so interesting how you take this whole thing of, you know, being in a place where you had these results and you wanting to win and not winning, but the focus wasn't like, oh, I need to be better than X, Y, and Z. The focus was like, I need to be better for me. And that's the coolest thing, right? It's not like you were doing this to be better than the competition or to have that else. It was improving yourself. Yeah. And that's where all of this kind of thing came into. And I'm curious, like, you know, I trained with you in URA, which, you know, is always a fun experience for me.
I'm smiling big time right now.
less fun for me than it is for you. For those who don't know, I mean, like, Kilian was dropping me, and I raced URA 100 and had just a crazy experience. But that being said, though, like, man, I remember after that one big day that you did, it was 29 miles. I did a little bit shorter, but you came in and you had like the biggest smile. And you even said to me, you're like, this is the year. Yeah. And it was. And the reason why I bring this up is because you brought up this term. And, you know, if this was something that you feel like applies going to Tahoe, we can touch on it now. Or maybe, I don't know if this comes in later, but you always talk about the concept of like delusional self-belief. And I love that term. Was that something that you had going into Tahoe? Was it something after Tahoe? Like, or explain that concept. And if it was after Tahoe, explain it afterwards for sure.
I didn't come up with the term until after Tahoe, but I had it, and I had it the whole time. And so for anyone wondering, like, there's this concept in philosophy called metaphorical truth, and it's basically something that isn't necessarily literally true, but that's helpful for you to believe is true. So my favorite example is like all towel racks cannot hold your weight. You know, like you don't want to be the person who's like leans on a towel rack at a friend's house and rips it out of the wall. You know,
that would suck.
Yeah,
that would suck.
So like. And I, as a kid, dude, I would have totally been the person who tries to like hang off the towel rack, you know? So I'm sure someone's got a towel rack you could do pull-ups on, you know?
So Kilian's staying with me. I bet I'm going to come in. He's like, yo, your towel rack's busted, dude.
So it's like a really silly example of like, but it's a metaphorical truth. If you go about believing that, you're probably going to have a better time than if you're like, let's test each individual towel rack.
Imagine like that was your MO. You're just like, every single person, you're like, I think this is the one.
Like, don't invite Kilian to your house.
Yeah, it's like, bro, you're not sorry. Next time, find somewhere else.
So that's the concept of metaphorical truth. And it applies to, so I came up with this after Tahoe, and it was like delusional self-belief. So delusional because you don't have evidence. I believe I can win the 200s. I mean, I have Cocodona 23. You know, I was competing, but I didn't win. Dude, my body collapsed on me. Everything imploded, like truly literal physical and mental implosion, weeping uncontrollably in the middle of the trail, you know? So I don't really, it was hard to use Cocodona 2023 as evidence given that it ended that way. You know what I mean? So delusional self-belief just means like, you think you can do it, like, and you have no evidence. You're just like, you're going into it and you're like, I know this, you know? And so it's helpful. You know, that's what gets you through it. There's like somehow this iron will inside of you that's just like, I know that this is what I'm capable of. And then it happens, you know, and when it happens, it's no longer delusional, which is great. Yeah. But it's strange. And I mean, if you're someone who thinks you can do something and you keep failing, like get back up and try again. Like that is what delusional self-belief, that's what it's going to get you, is it will get you to get back up, like stand back up. You're down in the dirt, get back up over and over and over again. You know, the 200s, dude, one of the hard things about ultra running is you fail at a 200, you do 150 miles. It's not like you can go do it again the next weekend. You know, you don't have a change. Like you're waiting a year to do that same race again. So you have to have, like, there has to be something carrying you through. There has to be a foundation. There has to be a pillar holding up the roof of whatever it is that you think you can do. And delusional self-belief is it, you know? Yeah.
How do you, when the motivator, or not even the motivator, just a negative voice comes in your head, let's just say you have this delusional self-belief, and is that motivator still there for you? And how do you, I guess the reason why I ask this question is, like, if you don't have the evidence, do you have that voice also trying to knock it down? Like, are you having those two kind of, like, how do you reconcile those two things? Because I think a lot of times, even when I work with athletes one-on-one, like, they're like, you know, we go through and they're like, I believe I can do it, but like, also I had this race that went bad, or like, also this happened on there too. And like, how do you make sure that that negative voice doesn't knock down that delusional self-belief?
Yeah. It's hard to put into words because everything mental is so malleable, but, and I'm going to segue with like a little story real quick.
Yeah, hit it.
So when I was a kid, I read the Iliad, and there's this famous scene in the Iliad when Achilles' mother, who's a god, Thetis, I think is her name, she tells him, she's like, if you go and fight in Troy, you will die, but you will be remembered forever. And if you stay, you're going to have a happy life and you're going to have kids, but you're going to be forgotten, you know? And as I think this is the wrong, I'm going to caveat this. I think this is the wrong decision now, but as a kid, I was like, go, you know, I'm like, go to Troy. Like, obviously, dude, you want to be remembered. And so there's something that I've always felt that, like, dude, I'm like 6, you know, and so I'm agreeing with him going to die, and I like, you don't get it when you're 6 that's stupid, you know, like, be happy, but there's something in me still that kind of leans that way, just spiritually, you know, not logically, not intellectually, but just like, I've always had this thing inside me that believes I could do something, you know, not just be a person wandering around in confusion and chaos. Like, I was going to contribute, you know. Originally, when I went to college, it was, I'm going to be a politician. I'm going to change things, you know. Then that collapsed like a dying star of cynicism, a supernova of cynicism. Then it changed to ultra running. You know, after my first 100, I was like, this is going to be my career. And my first 100, I finished in 31 hours. It was garbage. Like, you know, so I don't have a good explanation for how to foster that, because it's been in me since I was a child. But I think if you're to run a 200 well, to run a 100 well, you don't need to be genetically insane. So just knowing that one fact, like, you can do better than you're doing, you know? So if you can somehow get the mental piece there, the physical piece is going to follow. Because if you can just hold yourself accountable in those moments where you want to try to be comfortable, but you can make yourself live right on the edge, then you can do it, you know? So I don't know if that was super convoluted answer to your question, but yeah, it's a fosterable, teachable skill to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Is it teachable to have that delusional self-belief? I don't know. But, you know, if the concept is helpful, take it from me. Like, steal it and use it for yourself, you know?
Yeah. And I'm wondering if it relates, because we were also talking about this concept, and we'll get into the races and everything too. But, like, I think this is just so good right now, because it kind of relates to a concept you and I were talking about, where we were having a conversation about, like, how do we get people to, like, go for bigger? Right. And you and I, even right before this, you know, it was talking about how impactful, like, even just like one line that you said, it's like, why set limits? Do you feel like that could be a practical way where people can start to get more delusional self-belief of just like, and explain that concept too? Because I think it's just, it's so powerful. Like, it was so powerful that I went on a podcast today and I was like, my friend Kilian said this, because I thought about it and it's like, so good. So, I
mean, to be fair, I didn't really grok this myself until after Moab, dude. Because so why set limits? It's like, I didn't think I'd be able to put the times down at the races, all three of these. Like, I thought I could get a clean sweep of the Triple Crown. I thought I could break the record, but I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was, you know? And when you have a ton of belief in yourself and then you outperform that belief, you're like, dude, what am I doing having these arbitrary ideas? Like, what's a time goal? You know, set your time goal 5 hours for faster than what you think is realistic, air quotes, you know? Like, dude, you can just do more, you know? And if you are, it's that, like, once you have that skill unlocked, once you've leveled up in the mental game, it's never gone, you know? You know, David Goggins, Joe Rogan, Cam Hanes have all talked about this kind of thing where, like, you have, like, an inner bitch is what they call it, you know? And so you just know, none of us don't have it. We've all got, every motivated person in the world has the voice that's like, don't get out of bed, dude. You know, don't get out of bed. And the disciplined people just beat that voice every time. It's a tiny little battle, but boom, it's done. I drop a nuclear bomb on that voice in the morning, and it doesn't show up till the next day. So, cool. I win that every time. In the middle of an ultra, you know, we have that voice. And that voice is saying on this flat section, hey, your feet hurt. Your calves hurt. Your Achilles are aching. Oh, your knees are aching. You feel creaky.
You had this voice throughout the entire Triple Crown, right?
100%, dude.
Yeah.
Every single race. Every race, the second night, I would have thoughts like, what am I doing? This is so stupid. I paid $5,000 to run these 3 races. And this is so stupid. I'm so tired. It's dark. And, dude, in Moab, it's wet. I'm cold. Like, what am I doing? You know? And that voice never won. You know, dude, in Tahoe, we can talk about all the races specifically, I'm sure, but, like, you know, go back and listen to our podcast about Tahoe and just hear about Tahoe alone.
Oh.
Dude. Awful. Oh. The last 20 hours of the race are no fun. Zero fun being had. Slog. It's not even type 3 fun because there's no push involved. It is just like, get up that hill as fast as you can, but it's slow because you can't breathe, you know? So that voice is, dude, it's there. But you can beat it. Just the same way you can beat the voice that tells you not to put on your shoes. Or the same way you can beat the voice that's like, don't go to the gym today. Or wake up, stay in bed, it's cozy. You know, like, it's warm in here. Oh, it's raining outside. Don't go for a run, you know? Don't be a fair weather fairy. And we're not going to – you don't want to be that in an ultra, dude. Like, and I like one of the best is Moab was the most recent, so this is the one that is like in my brain. But dude, to get to the dry valley section, it's basically a road marathon. Partly dirt, partly pavement, no technicality. I ran the whole thing, you know, averaged 11s, but with a stop. So I'm running 10:30s, something like that most of the time.
Yeah.
Between mile 140 and 170, thereabouts.
Wild.
So, but the whole time, the entire time, I'm like, God, I want to walk so bad. You know, like, I'm like, oh, God, it would feel so good to walk 20 steps. And so I'm like, my brain is trying to bargain with me. You know, like, do you want to – we could just do 20 steps. You could do 2 minutes of walking. Like, that's not going to – you're not going to lose the race because it's 2 minutes. But no, like, you beat that voice. And if you can teach yourself to win that battle 100% of the time, then you've leveled up. And once you win the battles, it gets a little bit easier and a little bit easier. It's like at first that voice is a castle on a hill, and then you build a trebuchet. You know, and you fling some rocks at it and the battlements start crumbling. And maybe you win one battle, you know. You take over the castle for a little bit, but then the king comes back, kicks you out. You know, him and his buddies in there drinking wine.
Fuck you, dude.
Yeah, you stay in bed one day.
The perfect fucking analogy.
And then finally, dude, you're the Mongols. You're Genghis Khan. You come along and you're like, bitch, give me tribute or you're done. And he's gone. Yeah. And so once you beat that voice, you can beat it every time. And I think that's unlockable. You know, that's just something that you have to believe in. It's kind of like when you do your first ultra and the process of cycling through ups, lows and highs in a race. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make physical sense. It doesn't make mental sense. And it doesn't make sense if you haven't experienced it. But then you go and do a race, you have a low at mile 50, you feel great at 75. And so you're like, oh, this exists. Cool. Now I know it exists. It doesn't always get worse. Courtney was right, you know? And then once you beat that voice, you know you can do it.
Yeah, it's just like you're literally in a place where you're beating it is the key to continue to beat it more in the future.
Yeah.
But you have to do it the first time.
Yeah.
And then you got to do it the second time, the third time, and it's like then it just becomes easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first time is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first time is really hard. And you can't sugarcoat it. Like the first time, you're going to lose a lot of guys taking that castle.
Your army's fucked. Yeah, you won the battle, but you're like, oh shit, at what cost? Yeah. That's so fucking. Dude, this is a perfect analogy. This is fucking great. Yeah.
So yeah, the first time it's hard, but then it gets easier, you know, and that's why improvements are cascades in some ways, you know, like sometimes and I'm sure we'll get to the point where we're talking about some practical physical improvements and stuff, but mental improvements, they just stack on each other. And sometimes it happens at exponential rates. So when you beat it the first time and then you get addicted to beating it, you know, so it's not like, you know, in Moab, I still had the what am I doing moment, you know, but that lasted 12 seconds, you know, and then I'm like, I'm winning the Triple Crown. Is what I'm doing, bro. You know, it's like, and I can say that to myself, and it's a fact. And then you just are like, okay, yeah, that's what we're here doing. You it cascades on itself. Like, you know, you win. I won Tahoe. I was able to push through that voice, and then I'm like, okay, there's a slog. I won. Doubts are gone. Approach Bigfoot. Literally beyond my dreams. The performance at Bigfoot. You know, and then what are why limits? Why limit yourself? There's no limits. The limits are they don't exist until they do. You know, until you collapse. Like that Eminem song, dude. Till I collapse.
Yeah.
You know, like that. You can rein yourself in like a horse, or you can let yourself fly like a shooting star. You know, why not be the star?
Yeah, and I think what's the coolest thing about your journey is that you still kept showing up even with all that shit. You know what I mean? Like with all that stuff that you went through for years, you kept going. And I think what fucks people up is that they go through those things and I would venture to guess, although there's literally no scientific way to probably figure this out, but the people, like, if someone went through the situation that you did, most people would be like, fuck it, it's not for me. You know what I mean? Right? They'll be like, the odds are fucking stacked against me. Like, I went through all these races and I did all this, so it must not be for me. But, like,
who knows?
You kept going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that is, it's like that, I forgot what the book is, like 10 Feet from Gold or whatever.
Yeah.
Where, like, the person's just, like, chipping away, and then they're like, all right, we've been doing this for years. Like, they're trying to find gold.
Give up.
And they give up, and literally what they found was that they were, like, the next dig, they would have hit the gold.
Yeah.
And it always is what I think about is, like, you know, someone told me a quote is, like, if you don't stop, you won't lose.
Yeah.
And as simple as that sounds, it's so powerful because it's not about did you get it or not. It's not about did you fuck up 6, 7, 8 times in a row. It's just a game of keep going over the long period of time and you will get there.
Yeah.
You know, and I think you're like the epitome of that, which is so awesome.
Yeah. I'm going to a little bit early bring up a question.
Oh, yeah. We have questions from the audience, by the way. I have, full transparency, I haven't seen any of these questions, so it could also be like
yeah.
why does Joe suck at your egg? You know, like, it could be one question that's on there. Yeah.
But this is from Tori William, and it was like, is your mindset more like Goggins, where it's like don't be a bitch, or is it more like Kobe, where you win at all costs? And there's benefits to both. But dude, the thing about Kobe is he was a high volume shooter. He missed a lot of shots, you know. But the like Mamba mentality thing, dude, he's grinding. He was extremely talented, but he's showing up to practice way earlier than everybody. He's staying way later. He's not going out drinking. He's not smoking weed. He's not doing these things. So he had natural talent plus the drive, you know? And so I identify probably more with that Kobe side of things, where you're just, and again, like, I'm not like tooting my horn at all. I'm not comparing myself to Kobe. That would be totally arrogant. I
mean, you could be the Kobe 200s right now. Like, I would say.
Yeah, all I'm saying is that you can use that, you know, like, that is someone who knew how to grind, you know? Because no matter how much natural talent you have, if you have no grind, you're not getting anywhere. There's nothing that's going to happen for you. And yeah, man, like, maybe people would have given up, but it's like, it never crossed my mind a single time. Even in the moments where I'm hating on myself, I'm like, oh man, like, but this is the thing that I feel like I'm born to do, you know? I don't believe in destiny. I don't believe in fate, whatever. But it's like, this is the thing. This is the only thing that I feel this way about as far as an activity. Like in terms of love, like, the only thing that's comparable is my love for Susie, you know? So, like, and obviously she's more important. I've always told her, I'm like, if you asked me to stop running, I would stop running. She would never do that, so it's like not a thing. But it's like, in terms of scale, there's nothing else in my life that's like that. You know, I'm sure when we have kids, it'll be different, you know, all those things. But if you love something like that, you know, it wasn't a question of being dedicated. So it's like, I never felt like I was like making a choice to keep going. It was more like I'm like in a canyon, and all the failures are like a rock fell and, you know, trapped my arm 127 hour style. And then I like yanked myself free and we're moving, you know?
Like, hey, we have one arm less, but we're going. Yeah.
You know? And so it's like, I was on the path, you know? And so I didn't make decisions to continue. It just happened. I was like, there's no options here. We're going to do this.
Yeah. And it's like different, not to say the Goggins mentality is different, but I think the Goggins is just like push through suffering at all costs, where I feel like the Kobe is more like and not to say this is not Goggins, like, doesn't work hard, but I feel like Goggins might be a little bit more brute force, whereas like Kobe's more like precision.
Yeah, a little more surgical.
Precision. And I feel like that's how you approach life. I mean, like, dude, I remember, for the people listening, I stayed with you for like 3 days, and then I went back and I chatted with Andrew, a fellow coach on the team, and he's like, he was curious, he was like, what is Kilian like? I was like, bro, so dialed. I was like, he's got the same routine every day. He eats the same thing. We were friggin' like out in Uray. He like brings all his stuff to cook the same meal. Like, he's got his routine. Like, I was just like, and like that to me, you know, even just spending those days for years, I was like, this right here, like, this is what it takes. Like, to be great is to the degree of like how much you can be intentional with your actions. Yeah. And like everything that I saw there was like intentional. And like that was so cool. And I think that intentional thing is very much like the Kobe man. Like everything that Kobe did, said, reacted was intentional, right? And again, I think like the difference with the Goggins stuff, and I think Goggins is amazing and stuff like too, but I think Goggins is more just like will, like the will, which is so powerful. Both equally as powerful, both equally as
you want both sides,
right? You want both sides, but I think like there's like that precision piece that's just, you know, it's more of like it's more of like this flow and art as opposed to just like let's bulldoze through it, which is like the combo of both.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, I think both is valuable, but I appreciate what you say about like things being intentional. I mean, I do think like the way I have oriented my life is to be successful at this one thing, you know, and that's not to say I don't do other things. Like I've got like, do I have friends outside of running? I have some, you know, not that many, you know, they're still workout friends. They come lift with me, you know, so not tons of friends outside of running or like college friends and stuff and whatnot. But, and I do have like a bit of a life that, you know, I do other things. I write, I read, like, you know, Susie and I love watching TV together and discussing things and that sort of stuff. But I mean, if you have big goals, like not just, and I don't say just, that's, I never want to come across that way, but like, I'm not trying to just finish these things. You know what I mean? So, and just does not mean to diminish that. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah. I'm attempting to move this, like, without again sounding self-aggrandizing, like I'm attempting to move the sport forward. Yeah. You know? So all the things are working to that. You know, the meditation, my morning routine, which might not seem running related, you know, wake up, I drink coffee, a couple cups of coffee for an hour while I read. You know, I don't look at my phone at all until that hour as after. But like that centers me to be successful for the day. And most of the things I read are thought-provoking, you know, and they set you up, like these little ritualistic things set you up for success in your life. And so, I mean, I appreciate what you say about things being purposeful because I do want it to be that way. You know?
For sure. Yeah. There was a book that I read like a while back. It was like about some rowing team, and what the coach told the rowing team is that every action they make, because they're a collegiate rowing team, right? There's parties and drinking and all that kind of stuff. Right? A lot of distractions. And the coach told the athletes, they said, if you want to be great, your decision-making funnel should be, does this make the boat go faster? Yeah. And that's always hit with me. And of course, right, like, you know, not every like decision has to be that rigid in life if you don't want it to be, right? Like there's nothing wrong with, not wanting greatness. Like that's totally okay. Like I read a really good book, Principles by Ray Dalio. It's one of my favorite. And he said, like, there's always a balance in life of like, do you want to savor life or do you want to like build and be great and like have this stuff too? There's no right or wrong answer. You have to just decide where on that spectrum you want to be, right? And if you want to be to the degree of how far you want to be on that right is to the degree with the more actions you ask the question, how is this going to make the boat go faster?
Yeah, totally.
Right? And I feel like that's like when I was there that weekend, like every decision was, and not is the boat going to go faster, is Kilian going to go faster?
Yeah. I mean, without having read that book or hearing that before, like totally. Yeah. You know, that's like diet. I mean, I am rigid.
Dude. I mean, it was like everything. I was like, do you want to try this? You're like, no. And and here's the thing, like I think to some people it can seem like rude, but it's like when you're like, no, this is how he does it, and that's cool.
And I mean, with that sort of thing, like I would never expect someone to cater to my needs, you know. So all of my decisions, I'm going to take care of that. Like, you know, when I'm going to a family dinner, I don't expect people to cook for me. You know, I'm a crazy person. You know, I mean that in a positive way. But I have this single-minded focus on one thing. Like that's great. That's not normal. You know, so. And that's fine, you know. It's like, but and it's okay to be the other way. Like you can enjoy desserts, you know. I haven't had something sugary since 2020.
Holy shit! Are you serious?
Yeah. I haven't had like a cookie or a piece of cake since 2020.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
And do you miss it?
No.
Like, no, not at all.
Sometimes I miss on a road trip. I'll miss Domino's pizza.
Dude, honestly, out of all the things you said, like missing mid pizza like that.
Dude, I know, but I used to like. There's no good road trip foods that are healthy, dude. Zero.
There's zero, yeah.
So I used to be on, like, if I was driving a long ways, I'd just get a large Domino's pizza. It'd be filling, you know, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
But so that every now and then, like after a long run, you know, I'll be driving either to the next location, or like 5 hours home or whatever, and I'm starving. And I just pass like a Domino's. I'm like, damn, some salty, bready, cheesy, gooey gunk sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But I might die. Like I might crash the car and pass out. You know, who knows?
Because your body's just so not used to it.
Oh, it's not going to work, you know?
Yeah.
So, and it's never an option. So I don't think about it. Like there was one time me and a buddy were driving back from the Grand Canyon. We ran rim to rim to rim. We're coming through Monticello, Utah, and we stop at this place at literally 11:02, and we're stopping there because I'm like, oh, they serve breakfast. We get there 2 minutes after they're done serving breakfast, and they won't make me an omelet, and they have nothing else I can eat.
Oh,
you know?
So did you just not eat?
No. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm like so hungry, dude. Ran 50 miles the day before. I had a tiny breakfast, and all I have are like cheese crisps and a meat stick, you know? And so then I get back in the car, and I'm just like eating this meat stick while my friend has like a delicious meal, you know? I'm like, oh my God.
You don't even so it sounds, I mean, you even stick this even after the race, right?
Yeah.
And all of that is just because the goal still hasn't stopped. Like, or it's just like the intention hasn't stopped.
Yeah. I don't want to feel worse than I have to.
Yeah. That's so good. And I think like the coolest thing is that, you know, this is what greatness takes. Like if you look at anyone who's great, Kobe, Michael, I mean, even Jim, like Courtney, whoever, right? And again, like not everybody has to be great, but even if like you just take your decisions with 1% more of this, right? It doesn't have to be to the extreme, but I think like anyone who does do the extreme is such a great example of like what, like to the proportion of like that you do that, the greater you're going to be.
Yeah.
And even if you just have a 1% more intentionality in your decisions, that can lead to like 10, 20, 30% better.
Yeah.
Which is so cool.
And I mean, if you just want to use the example of diet for a second, like, if you eliminate like the food that makes you feel the worst, that you love the most, let's say you do that one thing. So like, you know, it could be anything, cake, Rice Krispie treats, what a candy, you know. If you just are like, okay, I'm not doing that one thing. It makes me feel bad. I like the mouthfeel, but it's not worth it. But then you do the rest of everything. You know, you have pasta, spaghetti, whatever, all the other stuff that you love that might not make you feel optimal, but it's not as bad. Yeah, you've improved. Yeah, you know? So you don't have to cut out. It's not like you have to cut out everything. You don't have to be so extreme. You know, like I'm disciplined to the point at like where it doesn't even. It's not framed as decisions anymore. Like people praise me for being disciplined. And I'm like, I'm not even making choices.
But that's the goal.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It's like once you do it, because like you kind of said before with when we were talking about the negative voice, the first one's always the hardest. I'm sure like the hardest thing was it the hardest thing? Like
dude, it was a struggle to switch.
Yeah. Like how the fuck did you like get over that initial struggle period?
I mean, dude, I went New Year's Day 2021. I went full keto.
Yeah, explain your diet too. Yeah, because and by the way, we're gonna get into Tahoe and everything too, but we got time, so we're just fucking going.
We are only an hour and 20 into this.
Fucking, we got this room for 4 fucking hours.
Yeah.
We don't know where the shape that you know what the time is, but like
this is why we did the no time
because I knew that we were gonna we're like, here's a triple crown, it's all of a sudden like bang, bang, bang. But like, dude, all right. So explain,
I mean, dude, I think this has been great so
dude,
far.
I love this because I don't feel stressed to get everything in.
Yeah.
And so with the diet stuff, so
I like being able to tell stories and stuff and just like meander.
This is so in depth, and I love it. And so with the diet stuff, right? Like, explain your diet first, because I think like
you want like the whole evolution.
Yeah, whole evolution, and then also like I love
because this can segue us into more practical stuff, but I do think the evolution is interesting,
right? And of course, and then obviously we'll talk about the stories and stuff like that. But yeah, but I definitely want to talk about like the switch too first, because I think like that's if anyone wants to fucking change anything. Like, they're going to go through this process. Whether they change fucking diet, workout routine, like, the way that they do shit, like, and I think the goal, and at least what I think, and even just thinking about my life going through sobriety and stuff, like, you get to the point where it's not even a fucking decision. Like, a lot of people ask me with sobriety, that's like, do you ever, like, get the craving? And I was like, dude, it's not even a fucking thought.
It's not an option.
I don't go to a fucking bar.
Yeah, it's not on the menu.
Right, I don't go to the bar and I'm like, oh, like, do I get the drink or not? No, I'm going to get a water.
Yeah.
And it's not, like, so anyways... Long way and winded way to say that. Talk about evolution, what it was like making the switch, like how did it get to the default of like this is how the fuck I operate.
Yeah. So When I first started ultra running, I was a vegetarian.
Which is so crazy knowing you now.
For I mean, animal rights reasons, and I still agree with those arguments.
Right, that is not crazy.
I think factory farming is bad. I'm willing to say that. I don't think that's super controversial. But start adding back in meat at some point, because I mean, and maybe this is controversial to some people, but dude, it's not optimal to not eat meat for athletes. I think I think people need more protein. Hard to get the protein out of a vegan diet. I'm sure it can be done. You know, so all those caveats aside, 2020, end of 2020. I'm like, dude, do I go keto? Like, do I go low carb? I'm really looking up to Mike McKnight at this point. I actually paid for a consultation with Zach Bitter, which, side note, was on his podcast recently, which is a great full circle moment for me. I was like, dude, I paid for a consultation with you, and now I'm talking to you as like a peer. So cool. Amazing. Yeah. Wonderful human. But,
love Zach. Amazing dude.
Yeah. When I paid for a consultation, he had to reschedule, and I paid for an hour, and we talked for like 2.5 hours.
That's awesome.
Super generous with his time. Yeah. So anyway, I'm like transitioning. I go full keto, no carbs. So I do it January 1st, 2021. No carbohydrates.
And were you like were you like eating like sugary stuff like everything before that? Like
cookies, pizza, all the things, dude.
So you just went fucking hard, like just fucking
hard stop. Dude, and sugar is
How the fuck was that?
Dude, sugar is an addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, like so sugar cravings months to go away. Months, dude.
And was it just messing with your mind, brain, like body?
It wasn't that bad. Like I didn't have physical withdrawals, you know, but man, the temptation, dude, because it's so easy. Yeah. Like Susie's not doing the same thing. So in my house, I've got all the shit to make all the good stuff, dude. I could make cupcakes. I could make pizza. We had a great pizza place in town where we were living that I could walk to, you know, like all the things are at my fingertips. But I was dealing with chronic inflammation. I knew ultra running was the goal. And I'm like, okay, dude, this fat burning thing really seems to make sense for 200s, you know, like lower intensity. Why not carry around 12,000 calories in your body that you just have access to? Why not? Right. So single-minded goal. I didn't have any keto flu type things. I did, you know, it takes about 2 weeks for it to really take effect. So, you know, I did in my off season, not training super hard. I noticed, you know, a lack of pop, but that's to be expected. One thing about being fully keto that was amazing is after you get into ketosis, like your energy level throughout the day is one flat line. Yeah. Like no spikes, no dips. And that I don't even have now. It was cool. And I got obsessed with it. Like 30, 40 mile runs eating nothing, you know?
Whoa.
And like you could just do it. And your energy level is just like one flat line. It was a fun experience. So 2021, fully keto. Then kind of going into 2022 Cocodona, you know, I'm adding in like some real food carbohydrates, like potatoes and rice.
What made you want to do that?
You know, just listening to McKnight and like Jeff Browning, who was doing kind of lowish carb stuff at the time, you know. So I'm like, okay, my carbohydrates in the rice are going to come from real food. So I'm doing like no gels and stuff. And then to have stomach issues, you know, whatever. And so I'm like trying to deal with all this stuff, but I'm like, dude, what's nice is that if I can't eat that much, I'm not going to bonk because you're such a good fat burner. And then after a while, with sports nutrition evolving, and then, you know, the people that I look up to evolving. So like Jeff Browning, he calls it like optimized fat metabolism. And I talked to him a bunch about this in Cocodona 24. And so, and that's kind of where I would put myself now, is like optimized fat metabolism. So what my diet looks like now and what it's evolved to is I periodize my carbohydrates around intensity. So you know, if I'm doing a 7 mile zone 0.5, zone 1, zone 2 run one day, I eat less than 20 grams of carbs. 16 grams of carbs.
Some. Yeah.
16 grams of carbs almost exactly that come after my run with my protein shake. And the carbs are from
almost
milk.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I have 2 cups of milk, 8 grams of carbs in a cup.
To the fucking T. Yeah. You know what's funny? So 16 is funny. We went to go for a run this morning, and we saw the hours of the trailhead, and it opened at 6:02.
6:02.
And we're like, that's a weird number. And then it's like 16 carbs. Why not 20?
Yeah. I mean, so 2 cups of milk. That's what it is. You know? So those are the only carbs I'm getting that day.
Yeah.
You know? And then around any kind of intensity, lifting, long runs, any run over 2 hours, I'm going to feel like race day. So, my long run days, I'm getting 500 grams of carbs.
Right.
Because I'm doing 90 grams of carbs an hour. I'm doing a big breakfast of ground beef, rice, and cheese, which we can talk about. I think people find that kind of funny.
So much ground beef. So much ground beef.
And so, around lifting, I was doing kind of fruit or maybe rice before lifts. Now that I'm partnered with Precision, I'll do like a 30-gram gel in the hour before my lift, and then I'll finish a 90 during my lift.
Which is 90 grams of carbs.
Yeah, 90 grams of carbs.
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly. So
Precision's awesome.
It's amazing.
Love it.
Yeah, love it.
Some of the best gels out there. Yeah.
The only ones I've ever liked.
They're good. They taste like a marshmallow.
They do taste like a marshmallow.
So like you get like the sugary marshmallow.
Exactly, dude. That's the only sugary thing I've had for 4 years is gels.
Yeah, and they are like compared to an actual marshmallow, so fucking different. Not even in the same universe. Yeah.
No, I know. Like some of my friends who don't run, I used to work in some retail stores, and there'd be like someone bringing brownies one day, and my friend Chris would be like, "Would that kill you?"
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I don't know. We're not going to find out.
Let's not do it. No.
So the fueling has evolved to I would call it optimized fat metabolism. I don't know. If I'm if that has parameters to literally be, if there's things you have to be hitting, I have no clue whether I'm hitting them. All I know is that what I'm doing feels great.
Right.
And I don't track anything anymore. I just eat when I'm hungry, and I know what to eat. But for a while I was tracking protein, and I would just try to get 1 gram per pound of body weight per day.
Which
typically
you got Andrew Redden on that.
Yeah, it's great.
He said it changed his freaking life.
I love that.
Yeah,
amazing. I mean, Alyssa too. She's started eating more protein. She's like, I'm recovering faster. I'm like, it's what's building your muscles. It makes sense. But so I don't even track that anymore because I just know what I need to eat to get it. And I probably average anywhere between 220 and like 300 grams of protein a day.
So like 1.5.
Yeah. So I'm above what I'm aiming for, which I think is fine. And so it was like kind of a long journey of self experimentation. But I'm at a point where it's like, man, I just know exactly what not to do and what to do to make myself feel good. And again, like we're talking about, you don't need to optimize 100%. But what I tell my athletes that I work with is I'm like, if I ask you the question, what meal makes you feel best? If you don't have an answer to that, you're not being mindful enough. You've got an easy improvement to make here and most people don't. Most people don't have an answer to that.
And it doesn't have to be what you like. I've heard you talk with athletes before. It's not like you're saying like, oh, like eat like the way that I eat. It's like what makes you feel the best. Yeah. And I love that. And like, do you have like if someone answers no, right? If someone like comes to you, like athletes, like, I don't have like, what do you?
I'm just like, hey, like, well, here's an easy improvement. You don't have to try any harder to do this. You just have to be a tiny bit more mindful. So. Days before you have real workouts, like not your easy runs, but speed workout, long run. Just think about like, okay, what did I have for dinner last night? Did I have macaroni and cheese and then I had the shits all run, or did I have like some salmon, some rice, and some broccoli, and I felt amazing. Who knows? Maybe someone out there eats the mac and cheese and they're like, bro, rocket fuel, So, like, I'm sure someone out there is like the tiger shark version of a person where they're just like a garbage disposal, and everything's making them feel fine.
Yeah.
So I think that probably does exist. But if you don't have an answer to that question, I think you've got like a mega improvement you can make with literally no more physical effort than just one thought, like one little moment. After your workout, like, what did I eat for dinner? How did I feel?
And it's just, I think that's so important too, just even from a general training perspective, is like a big improvement that anyone can make is just being more mindful in terms of how they feel with the training, right? Like we as coaches, the biggest thing that like a lot of people ask us like, what's the most important thing you look at in terms of like stuff? And I'm like, of course you look at the paces and the data and the heart rate and like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But the most important thing I think is like, how is the athlete feeling?
Yeah.
Right? Because like they can have rocking paces and great stuff, but it's like if they're putting in training peaks that they have like low, like sad face, like, God, I feel eight. Like it's like, no, then that doesn't work. We need to switch something because it's at the balance of like feeling good. And like even if you're not working with a coach, like just tracking how you feel, like relative to how did that workout feel? Like how did I feel myself? Like how did I feel like even just eating? Like how many hours of sleep? Like does this like even just being mindful, like you said, is such a good first step because once you're mindful, you know it works and then you optimize from that.
Yeah. Mine, like just paying a little bit more attention.
Yes.
If you pay 10% more attention, you get 90% of a dividend from it, you know? So it doesn't require that much of you. And I think that's just like another underrated thing that you can do to improve is just paying a little bit of attention, you know? And that's why I think, you know, heart rate, all the numbers, they're useful. They are useful training indicators. You know, I like measure my heart rate on all my training runs. I use nothing during races. And we can talk about why that is. But ultimately what I'm using the heart rate to do is to train myself to be more mindful, you know? So I'm training myself to know exactly where my RPE scale is and like what does an 8 mean on the number. So like sometimes I'll play this game when I'm running where I'll just try to guess my heart rate. And I'm correct 98% of the time.
Wow, because you're so in tune with how your body's reacting. Yeah.
I almost, most of the time I can tell you. Every now and then I look down, I'm like, wow, it's way lower. I feel great today. Or I looked and I'm like, oh, I need a day off, you know?
Oh, so if your heart rate is like kind of different than the RPE, like it could just be like a signal of like maybe different recovery. Yeah.
So I think like all the numbers are useful, but the most useful thing is paying attention to your body, paying attention to how you feel, how things make you feel, how running makes you feel, how these shoes make you feel. How'd you feel on that route? You know, like there's all these little factors that if you just pay a tiny bit of attention, like you can get a lot of gains from doing no extra effort.
Yeah, 100%. And I think I think even just in life, it's great.
Yeah.
Like mindfulness and attentiveness and like, you know, I think mindfulness gets such a bad I don't say bad.
It gets
rap.
overused.
Yeah, it gets overused, and I think with an ultra runner mindset, because like ultra running is so intense and like it's just about like hard work and everything. Mindful almost like feels like you don't like carelessness, but it's not, right?
No.
Like because I think mindfulness gets wrapped up in like meditation and yoga, and like, which is not bad, but I think people think of that as like Zen and like,
people equate that with crystals.
Yeah, right, crystals and chakras and like all that stuff. But I also think that like the mindfulness is like, I mean that. I think just makes you more intentional because like, you know, the inputs and how you feel and like listening to your body, I think is if you like talk with anyone who's a great ultra runner, right? You, Jim, Courtney, everyone's going to say, listen to your fucking body.
It's crazy just to like, you just listed me with Jim and Courtney. That's insane.
I mean, dude, like I fucking well earned, man. Like you're the best person to run the Triple Crown of 200s ever.
Yeah, that's true.
Ever. Like, think about that. Like, ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's just so cool to be in that position, right? Like, I mean, even just to, you know, and again, like, not to, you know, discredit anything too, but like, you know, we were talking about this, like, yours time versus like Courtney's time, right? Like, out there too. Like, I mean, it was like about an hour-ish, like, slower, but you had more mileage, more elevation gain.
12 more miles, 2,000 feet more.
Crazy conditions. I mean, like, Moab is usually a hot, dry race. You had fucking mud and rain and cold weather for miles, which significantly slows you down even just from an objective standpoint of having mud caked to your freaking feet like ankle weight. So I think, like, all that being said, man, it's like, yeah, like, I think, you know, to have that performance out there is huge. I mean, even just last year's, you know, and again, not to discredit anything too, but like you improved on last year's winning time by what, like 10 hours?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I think more than 10.
Yeah. And you had 200-mile races. Again, not discrediting things, but I think I think the weight of the accomplishment should be recognized, right?
Yeah. And I think to tie that into the kind of what we were talking about with mindfulness, it's the small things.
Yeah.
Like at some point, the physical training side, if you get to the point where you're competing at the top of anything. A lot of people are doing similar stuff. You know, the physical training side, there's only so much you can change.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like with carbohydrates.
Yeah.
I think that there's a literal limit you're going to hit where like taking more is not good.
For sure.
Like in my races, I've been doing 90 grams for the first half, 60 grams for the second half when the stomach's just like, we're not processing any more of this, you know? So there's like actual limits you're going to hit. But with the small stuff, with the mindfulness, like if you just literally take the definition of mindfulness, it's just like paying attention. With that, you just find these little tiny things you can do. And when if you improve your pace over a 200 by 30 seconds a mile, then you have just shaved off more than an hour, you know? So it's like small differences really add up to make big differences. And if you improve 1% across the board in all factors, you've improved so much. You know, so yeah, I think like it does. The performance speaks for itself in that the building blocks were all in place. You know, like we've been saying, kind of circling back, it's like purposeful. Things were oriented for this to happen.
Right. Like, and it's not like this was like random or anything, right? It's like all of that precision, like we were talking about, well, I guess the gel too. Yeah, literally the gels too. All that precision gels. But like more like the Kobe thing, right? It's like people see the games, they see him on TV, you know, putting up 50 points, like hitting that clutch shot. But the thing that isn't televised is like him in the gym, early mornings, all that stuff. And it
people would tell stories about him where like the practice would end at 8 p.m. and he'd be there till 10 p.m. shooting 3-pointers.
Yeah.
And no one else is there. So he's going and like retrieving his own basketballs. This freaking 100 millionaire is retrieving his own basketballs like a 10-year-old training outside. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying you don't have to be that. But if you are a 10th of that, you're doing good, bro. You know, like you're going to improve.
Yeah. And I think, you know, one quote that I really, really love, it's from Alex Hormozy. It's like, if you like really some of the things that is just a difference of how good you can be versus others, just like, and it doesn't translate as well to running because I know it has different connotation, but the more volume you do, like the more output you're going to get. Now, again, with running.
But zoom out volume-wise.
Right. Zoom out volume.
Volume can be, it's the running volume, it's the food, it's the small things. Like that's what you can include as volume.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But I know volume, it's not a great translation because like volume we hear like just mileage, but it's not that. It's just like the reps.
Yeah.
And reps doesn't have to mean more miles. Like you said, it's like one rep is doing the training. Another rep is being intentional with your diet. Another rep is being intentional with recovery. Like those reps.
Yeah. Getting into the sauna, doing having a mobility routine.
Yes. Like those. Yeah, exactly. Right. And it's like, even for me, right, like after Arizona Monster, like I wasn't doing a lot of strength training, then going out. And then if you told me like I would have been able to do top 10 at Tahoe, like 10 years ago, I would have been like, what the hell? Like even when I first started getting running, because I'm not a mountain runner, like I can't do this stuff. And then it's like making that shift with the strength training was huge. And that's a rep. And
that took 1 month.
Yeah.
Essentially.
That was it. And it's like, and then you start to think, like, kind of go back to the paradigm. It's like, damn, if I keep doing this for the rest of my career, like, where could that go?
Yeah.
You know,
no limits.
No limits. Exactly. So all this stuff is coming together, which is super, super cool.
How did we make that happen?
Yeah, dude. It's meant to be. You know why? Because we had this fucking room for 4 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why. Yeah. So that's awesome. And I love that because it all kind of culminates, right? Like, you know, with the mindfulness and stuff. So yeah, let's dive into Tahoe, right?
Let's do it.
Because let's go right into Tahoe. So, you know, you whip my butt in Uray. You know, you got 2 weeks taper after that going into Tahoe. Talk to us about that race because, you know, you are literally on that starting line about to go on this journey that's going to change your life.
Yeah. I mean, I'm certainly not thinking about it at that point. Like, you know, like it is true, you know, aid station to aid station, man. Yeah. And like, I try to think about these races like I'm going for a long run. It just so happens that long run is going to be followed by 10 more long runs.
And 200 fucking miles. 200 fucking mile long run. Long run. I mean, it really is at the end of the day.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's like I don't do anything different that morning. I prepare exactly like I would for a long run.
Yeah.
So, you know, I drink my coffee, I read my book, I eat my breakfast, all those things. So it's like it's all normal. You know, it just I'm staying in an Airbnb, you know, whatever. But approaching Tahoe, it's like goal is to have fun. Race starts, I'm having a blast the whole time. Like, first of all, the first 60 miles of Tahoe are the best 60 miles of any race.
So good.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Like, the trails are beautiful, the views are beautiful. It's so fun. And, like, it's mellow. Like, you do climb, but it's not hard climbing. No. And then you have a huge descent that's super fun. One sketchy stream crossing that I know Joe loved.
Oh, dude, I fell right down. I mean, I was coming off the mountain. Like, Adam Williams was like, dude, you okay? And I was like, bro, like, I don't know. That was nuts.
Yeah. So a couple snow crossings, you know, the Arizona folk, they were like, what is this white stuff?
Dude, I didn't know. I was freaking out. My brain was like, does not compute. Like, we don't have this here.
But yeah, dude. So go like first 60 miles, super fun. You know, the first 50K, I'm like kind of back and forth with Ian, who ended up coming second. Second 50K, I'm like, I'm just burying everybody. I mean, I didn't know it so much at that point. Like, I'm not that confident, but I felt so good. I was like, if someone's keeping up with me, they're good for them. They're either phenomenal or they're pushing way too hard. And so, I mean, I got into Heavenly 63 miles, I think, and my pace was exactly 12-minute miles.
Which is fucking crazy because how much elevate? Like, there is, for probably 10,000 feet, you would say?
10 or 12, something like that.
100K with 10,000 feet, 12-minute miles, and a 200-mile race.
Yeah. I was feeling so good.
Shit.
And, get to the first crude aid station. This is the first time I'm doing a 200 with my new fueling, so everything's kind of still an experiment. The first time I'm doing a 200 where I want my aid station stops to be 2 minutes or less for everything not crude and 10 minutes or less for everything where I'm changing clothes. I managed to get out of Heavenly in 11 minutes, so we're already doing well, Funny story, Liz, coach on the team, she's at Heavenly and, like, just chose a moment to, like, come say, dude, you're looking really good. Like, right when I'm, like, reaching down my shorts to reapply.
That's how it happens.
To reapply some lube. And I'm like, hi, Liz.
Yeah, oh, my God.
So that was funny. And then go out into the night. I'm having a blast, dude. I'm listening to tunes. I've got Ghost on.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, like, man, they're the soundtrack of my whole year.
The soundtrack.
Yeah.
Road to Nowhere.
It's long.
Yeah.
If you get the reference.
Real ones know.
Kudos
Real ones
to you.
know.
Kudos to you.
Yes.
So next 40 miles, smooth. Like, I always set intermediate goals in these races. And so I knew I had that huge descent into Village Green. And I was like, I want to run some 8-minute miles going into Village Green. It's about a mile 101. So going in there, I get my 100-mile PR at the time, 20 hours, 50 seconds.
In the middle of a 200-mile race.
Yeah. I'm feeling great. Breathing problems started. So I'm like, all right, it's coming.
Talk to us about Tahoe Lung, too.
Dude, I'd had it 2024. I think, so it used to not be a thing. When the race was in September, which when we get to talking about the Triple Crown, we'll talk about the fact that Mike McKnight's record was when they were all in 7 weeks. Bonkers.
Oh, that's when his record was.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So.
Damn.
Well, but we can talk about that when we get to the end of the 3 races. But anyway, they used to not have breathing problems in Tahoe because it wasn't in the springtime. But, I mean, dude, the pollen. So, like, when you're running at night, you can see it. If you park your car, it's there for 30 minutes. It's covered.
The trees
in
are
yellow.
Plastered.
Yeah. So, and the stuff you cough up, it's obviously pollen because it's bright yellow.
Yeah.
It's not mucus colored. It is bright yellow, like my glasses.
Yeah.
Yellow. Yeah, dude, it's crazy. So I start having the breathing issues, coming in mile 101. I'm like, oh, Jesus. I know what's about to happen. And so next 50K, I still do pretty good. Next 50K, I pick up my pacer, get to mile 130. I think his elapsed pace was like a 14:15. So, still moving fine. And that includes the power line climb, so.
Steep as fuck.
Yeah, get up there. Dusty.
So dusty. Just...
Yeah, thankfully I did it in the morning, no sunshine. It was cool. I'm not like dead sun. So I like get to the second turnaround point, pick up my brother. By that point, Tahoe Lung is like, rad, dude. I'm sitting there like talking to Aaron Kubala, and he's like, dude, sub 48 is totally possible. Like, all you have to do is 16-minute miles. I'm like, there's no shot. Like, the oxygen speedometer is fully in place at this point, Like, and every time I would sit down and I'd get up and my pack would weigh more, I'd be like, like trying to breathe and I'm like just walking up, dude. So my brother starts pacing me. The last 70 miles takes us 20 hours. And it's not because I wasn't pushing. It's because there were no options to be had. There were no decisions made in that time. It was just like, okay, we're hiking up. This is the fastest I can possibly go while not passing out from lack of oxygen.
Yeah.
Like, you experience the same thing.
Dude, it feels literally like you're running a speed workout but you're going the pace of like 1 RPE.
It's so bad.
Like that, and it's so frustrating because it's like literally you cannot get the gear to go because your body literally won't let you because you're not getting enough oxygen.
Yeah.
Like, just from a biological perspective, like, it's just, you just can't. It's the most frustrating thing. Yeah.
Especially because, like, at that point, dude, I had legs and I had, like, a mind.
Yeah.
That was able, like, I could have cranked.
Yeah.
Like, if I just felt good, we would have been. If Tahoe Lung isn't a thing, I finished that race sub 48.
Easy.
I'm 100% sure of that.
Yeah.
I can't say 100%, but I'm pretty
100%.
freaking sure, dude.
Yeah, I bet the farm.
Like, it's slow. And I mean, just literally in the time that I was with my brother, I was stopping every hour on the hour for 5 minutes to just crank my inhaler down my throat and take like some deep breaths, attempting to just clear things up a little bit. So 5 minutes of every hour for 20 hours, I am stopping. So that's more than an hour just there. My lowest point in any of the 3 races was getting to Village Green on the way back. And at Village Green, you have that huge climb coming out, dude, 20 miles basically of uphill, and so I'm like, holy shit. It was cold. So
freezing.
That was my longest aid station stop of the entire year. I thought it was like 21 minutes, but Conrad was like, it was like 37.
Oh.
So I was kind of a bitch at that aid station. I'm like, dude, it was such a dichotomy between me and the mid-pack because they're there going the other direction. There's literally people dancing. They're like having fun.
I remember you telling me you're a little jealous.
Yeah, I was like, man. I hate everything right now. One of the guys who was staying in my Airbnb that I'd met a couple days prior, his name's Trevor. He was there at that aid station at the time. I'm sitting in my chair in my huge parka, freezing. He's coming over. He's like, dude, you're doing so good. You're in the lead. He's like stoked for me. I'm like, just like staring at him, like drooling. I attempt to go make myself vomit. So I'm standing in the corner attempting to throw up to see if I could clear any of the upper
we heard
obstruction.
From someone.
From Mike McKnight and Mika the year before.
Because I remember you told me that.
Yeah, they made themselves vomit and it made it better. So I'm like trying. And dude, while I'm doing that, my abs cramp up. So I'm like, this is bullshit. What am I doing here? So finally I slink out of that aid station with my brother. I'm literally as I leave that aid station, so cold, dude. And then that
day was fucking cold.
So then we proceed to just average 18-minute miles for the next 40 miles, and still broke the course record. So all the courses have changed, so is not the fastest Tahoe time. I do not think it's the best Tahoe performance. That's still Kyle Curtin,
Mm-hmm.
It's the best performance with Tahoe lung, probably. That. So if you add that factor, maybe, but.
Because it doesn't happen in September because there's no pollen.
No pollen.
Yeah, because it's the pollen that time of year, too. Which in July, because they had to switch to July with the fires, that was also a year without the pollen, too.
So,
Yeah,
I mean, dude, it's awful. So Tahoe, win Tahoe, and I'm super stoked on winning. Not super stoked on the experience because I'm like, dude, I didn't have fun. After mile 100, there was another 100 miles of I hate everything. Constantly asking why. I mean, I still defeated the voice.
Right, because at that time, even though you not have fun, you knew what the task was.
Yeah, I'm beating the voice. I know. I'm like, dude, last aid station 18 miles to go. If it took us exactly 6 hours, so exactly 3 miles an hour, I'm still breaking the course record. It took us less than 6 hours.
Yeah.
So, but at that point in time, I'm like, okay, this is segmented into 1 hour segments. You know, my watch, I actually have changed this since then, but back then it buzzed me every hour to eat. Now it buzzes me every 30 minutes. But every hour my watch would buzz. I'm like, all right, we are a sixth of the way. We are a third of the way. We are half the way. 1 hour segments. And that was really helpful.
Just literally breaking, you're not even thinking about the fucking 6 hours.
No.
You're just I'm just
1
thinking
hour.
about the 1
hour. Get to
hour.
the next hour.
So powerful.
Yeah. So that was really, really helpful until...
Hey everybody, real quick, if you are super inspired by what you're listening to and you want help to crush your next ultramarathon goals, you want a plan that's going to help you train right, you want to dial in your nutrition and hydration to avoid bonking issues or stomach issues out there, you want a strength plan to keep you nice and strong, we actually just released a new option for coaching that is actually 80% less in terms of cost than our one-on-one coaching to make it more accessible for anyone who wants to get high-quality coaching without breaking the bank, and that is our group coaching program. Our group coaching program will give you access to me every single week on a video call in a group setting to ask me any questions you want about your training, racing, strategy, nutrition, anything you need to help you get dialed. On top of that, you also get a training plan with tips on how to adapt it to your specific needs and schedule and experience level as well too. You get a strength plan where you can go through and follow strength training exercises along the way. You get a nutrition and hydration guide that's going to help you dial in your plan there. And you get access to our Everyday Ultra private community where you can connect with over 200 runners who are just like you, and you can find a new friend, a training buddy, or potentially a pacer or crew member for your next race. So we have helped over 200 athletes all across all of our coaches at Everyday Ultra to hit their PRs, to hit distance lengths that they've never hit before, and ultimately to run their best races ever. And we would love to help you to do that the same in our group coaching program. We also have one-on-one options as well too, which you can check that out too. But if you're interested in the group coaching program, you can go to the link in the show notes or go to theeverydayultra.com/group-coaching. And you can go ahead and sign up with, again, 80% less of the cost than one-on-one coaching. If you're interested in one-on-one coaching, you can go directly to theeverydayultra.com and book a free consultation call with any of our coaches to see if it's a good fit. If you want a little bit more in-depth experience, so we have options for you. Regardless, we're here to help. We'd love to help you crush your goals, and hope to be working with you real soon.
All right, last 2.7. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
All right, back after a slight technical hiccup.
Hey, we move on.
Yeah.
Move on.
And
Yes.
a pee break.
There you go. There you go. I know. I was thinking about it in the head. I was like, oh, we gotta pee at some point. But
Dude, I mean, we're doing Rogan length, you know.
dude,
We're just going to have a really seamless cut in there.
just cut. No one's gonna know.
No,
Yeah.
until we talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, last 2.7 miles of Tahoe, I get to the point where the his name is Will, I'm pretty sure, and he is the live stream for the finish.
Yeah.
He's going to run the last 2.7 with me. So I get there, 2.7 miles. I'm like, oh, God, that's further than I want to go, you know? And so, like, dude, it's funny when you're at the end of a 200 because people might think, like, oh, you only have 2 miles left. But, dude, sometimes 2 miles sounds like so far.
So long.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going like 20-minute miles. It's like, oh, dude, it's almost an hour.
Yeah, I've got
It's
45
almost an hour.
minutes.
Yeah.
Like, no. And so the 2.7 miles, dude, we go down this slight hill, and then we just start climbing. And literally in the second penultimate mile, the last mile, you climb 650 feet, dude. And like, so in my head, you know, I'm running 15s, 14s, and I'm like, okay, we got about 35 minutes to go. That's what I tell myself. Then we start going uphill. I'm like, oh no. You know, I start hiking 22s. I'm like, dude, we have an hour. You know, we have an hour left. Like, what? No, that's not what I bargained for here, dude. Like, I was hoping to see that dude and him be like, dude, mile left. It's right around the corner, you know?
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, hey, like, we're almost at the top. Get to this little rise. You can see, like, the chairlift is going down to the left, so you know where the base area is. And you take a hard right turn. A right turn. And not only do you take a right turn, but you run these like little technical rocky rollers. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, I can't do this anymore. You know, Tahoe is the worst finish to any race. Dude.
Yeah.
It's so mean.
Yeah.
And it's like they were just like, you know what we're going to do to them?
Yeah.
Like right when they're finished, right when they get excited, we're just going to like hit him in the head with a hammer and be like, eat shit, guys. You know? So, yeah, you know, you run around this it feels like a big basin. You're running, and you're like side hilling, and you're like, Heavenly is right there to my left. Like, I know it's right there. And then finally you make a left turn, and you're like, ah.
Yeah.
Whew. So, yeah, I mean, cross the finish line at Tahoe, mostly it's just relief. I'm like, all right, so we talked about delusional self-belief. It is no longer delusional. That was single moment. It's like, I think you read a piece from my race report after Tahoe about like doubts being banished.
So good.
You know, that's what it felt like. It was like, boom. I know I can do this now. And I have just proved it to myself. Like, we are here. I have won. I crossed the finish line. First time I've ever crossed the finish line with finishing tape. You know, I'm like, this is the thing. This is like what I'm here to taste. Then I sit around at the finish and cough up garbage, dude. I'm like a disgusting person. My eyes are all messed up too. So like, I'm like, I can't really see straight the whole time, but I'm like, sit at the finish. Like, I like halfway fill like a little paper cup with like black, like yellow, black garbage, you know, like, ugh, disgusting. But yeah, I like won that race by a while, so I had time to shower, come back, see second and third. I mean, Ian Dude is who came second,
Beast.
first 200.
Beast. Anyone
Anyone who nails their first 200, kudos to them, because kudos to them, but also kind of like, fuck you. I'm like, dude, I'm like, how did you do this? You know what I mean? Like, that is, and I obviously I mean that in jest. Like,
Right,
I'm so impressed with people who do that.
It's amazing.
Dan Green, who won Cocodona, like, first 200, dude. If you nail your first 200, you are doing something right. Like, good work.
Yeah.
It is so impressive to do that.
There's so much unknown. It's like that's why I always tell my athletes, like, every time they go into 200 is like, I could literally tell you the experience of what you're going to face, but you're not going to know. Like, there's no way for me to give you like what that's going to feel like.
You don't
there.
know what a second night will be like until you're in the second night.
Like I interviewed before I did Coconona. I interviewed 35 people who had done Coconona to help to even just from like my standpoint too. Obviously, we're doing the Coconona series, but like I knew I was going to race it, and I was like, I want to see what it's like. And even with talking with 35 different people who had done this race multiple times, did not even prepare me for what it felt like.
No.
And it's just, you just don't know. And so
because it's indescribable.
It's crazy. And so like the people who nail it the first time, it's insane.
Yeah.
It's just like insane in like the most impressive way possible.
In the most impressive way possible.
It's wild. So I share the same sentiment.
Yeah. Ian looked good at the end too, dude. That'll become a theme here. I'm like, my brother makes fun of me for this. Like at the end of these races, I look the worst out of anybody, dude.
Well, I will say for Bigfoot, dude, you did not, which we'll talk about. Like,
okay,
Bigfoot, like in the interview after, dude, you look like you barely even fucking ran.
I mean, in all of the interviews, I don't feel that way. I'm like barely hanging on to a train of thought, and like things are floating around in my mind.
It's crazy.
But yeah, we'll get to Bigfoot, but we can wrap up Tahoe. Like, it is a good experience. I don't look back on that race fondly at all. You know what I mean?
Is it just
because it's Tahoe,
the experience?
Dude. Yeah. Like we can transition to Bigfoot pretty soon because I look back on Bigfoot and I'm like, that race was legitimately so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fun for the most part.
Yeah. And do you feel like with Tahoe though, like I guess before we move on to Bigfoot though, like that was, would you say the turning point?
It was definitely the moment where like, the chip was off the shoulder. You know, like a big weight was lifted. I'm no longer delusional. I'm now like, okay, now I know I can do this, you know? And I was like, dude, no Tahoe lung, amazing time. So I'm like, I can do this. Not only did I win, the time itself without Tahoe lung, not amazing. I think objectively with like the course and the statistics, but with Tahoe lung, as good as it was going to be, you know? And I didn't make mistakes. I was disciplined the whole time. My strategy worked. So it was a vindication of a lot of things. And I mean, it totally made going into Bigfoot no nerves. I didn't after Tahoe until 10 minutes before Moab. I had zero nerves the rest of the year, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's so good. I mean, like I love that quote that you like brought up that we shared on the second podcast after you won Tahoe. Was just like all the doubt was just like gone. And I think like that's the coolest thing. It's like when you see the validation in there through the work that you put in, that's the thing that just kind of keeps it going. I'm curious to ask this question. I mean, I knowing you, I know the answer, but I want to kind of more bring this up for the people who don't know you as well. Is like, so I'm a big fan of the Rocky movies. I promise this is going to come back to you. I'm a huge fan of the Rocky. Have you seen like all the Rocky movies or like?
I've only seen the first two.
Okay, you've seen the first two. So you haven't seen the third one. This won't spoil anything like major, but like basically in the third one, you know, he wins the championship. He gets the second one. I'm sorry, like this is not going to major spoil for anyone here, but
dude,
like,
it's an old movie.
Yeah, it's an old movie. If you haven't fucking seen it,
you
like,
haven't seen it.
Yeah, come on. Like it's like everyone knows Darth Vader is Luke's father. Even if you haven't seen it, like that's a fucking
you can't call foul about that one anymore.
That's a societal like miss on your part. So, anyways, all that being said, so in the third one though, like he gets the championship belt, and the movie starts like he's got like all this fame and fortune, and like he got the goal and stuff like that, and basically like he goes to face this other guy who's like hungry and he wants the title and everything, but Rocky's kind of like not training as hard as he used to because he's like comfortable and he's like done the thing, and then he gets his ass just fucking rocked. And like basically like, you know, the whole thing is like, you know, he needs the eye of the tiger back because he lost because he got comfortable, right? And I think even I've seen this in my own journey. Like sometimes it's like when you get all the success, it's like nice and it's like in that thing too. But my question for you is like, how did you like stay on that path for you? Like even with like the success and everything, was it harder or like,
the goal wasn't finished.
Yeah.
Because the goal was the Triple Crown.
Yeah.
So after Tahoe, like I don't think I fully going into the Triple Crown. I didn't really understand what I was doing. In this one way. I didn't really understand how hard doing 3 200s in a year was going to be, which sounds stupid, but like I hadn't had a 200 go well to the point where like Tahoe was the first one I only slept 5 minutes, you know, like
which is fucking crazy, people. 5 fucking minutes.
Only slept 5 minutes, you know, race went really well, but there was like 5 days later, you know, I'm still a zombie. I'm coughing up garbage. And I'm like, dude, I have to do this again in 8 weeks.
Yeah.
That's not that long.
No.
You know? And I had like this moment of panic where I like, not only do I have to do it again in 8 weeks, I have to do it 8 weeks after that. You know? So I'm looking all the way to Moab and I'm like, oh my God, like what have I done to myself?
How did you wrap your mind around it all?
I mean, part of it was just being, I didn't necessarily expect it to take 10 full days to feel normal again. Like it took 10 days before I woke up in the morning and I was like, I'm refreshed. I had a night of sleep that made me feel like a normal human being again,
Yeah.
you know? So I didn't know it was going to take that long, you know, because after Cocodona, I'd slept 5 hours and then I had the whole ICU experience was different, you know, so after that finish. After Bigfoot, I'd slept 50 minutes in 60 hours, which isn't a ton of time, but it's 10 times more than 5 minutes.
Fuck yeah. Oh
So,
my God.
you know, like there's just differences here. And so like then going into the motivation was never a problem because the goal wasn't gone.
Yeah.
But there was a moment where I felt daunted. You know, I was like wow,
fuck.
okay,
Yeah.
this is a big thing I've signed up for here.
Yeah.
But then after 10 days, everything starts to feel normal again, you know. And I already had I think my approach to the Triple Crown was really smart. And I already had this going into Tahoe where I was like, I'm going into Tahoe I'm 100 out of 100 right now. You know, I'm in tip-top physical shape.
Yeah.
I'm the best I have ever been in every single aspect of my game here. From efficiency, fitness, strength, period. All the dials are turned as far to the right as possible. You know what I mean?
And that's why like I asked the question is because like sometimes with some people, I'm not saying all because I think you're different in this regard, which I think like if people listening might have the tendency, which is totally okay. Like I think sometimes people strive to get to that point and it's not the strive, the gap that gets people hungry. But like you had closed the gap.
Yeah.
And it's like at that point, yes, of course the goal is like not motivated, but you still like, even though you were at there too, like in that period, like the motivation is just like, is it maintained? Like, I guess that's where I'm trying to get at here. Yeah.
Because a third of my race is done.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not finished yet.
Right. You're still in the task.
Yeah. So like it wasn't until after Moab that I had a sense of completion.
Yeah. I guess maybe this would be a good, maybe better question to ask at like now.
Yeah.
So actually let's do that. Well, I'm going to table that question.
Let's do that. That is a more interesting question.
That's a more interesting question
Moab,
for after.
because I have an interesting answer to that, but let's do it in sequence.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's get there.
Yeah.
Get there when we get to Moab. But after Tahoe, you know, or my Triple Crown approach, I was saying I think that it was smart, and I knew this going into Tahoe, so I'm tip top for Tahoe.
Yeah.
And I think what you have to accept when you're doing a race series like this is you're going to show up to the next races in worse condition. You will not be as fit and you will not be as strong. I don't think that's debatable. And it like literally numbers wise, like weight room, not debatable. You know, like before Tahoe, I didn't push the weight room like I would in the off season, but I still got a set of 10 squats at 250. You know, so I'm very strong going into Tahoe. And then in between the races, I was like, these are instead of optimizing for maximum training, I'm going to optimize for showing up on race day as healthy as I can be. And so this goes back to the concept of mindfulness. It goes back to loving yourself, being charitable to yourself. Like I still managed to get in quality training because my recovery was really dialed. So all the little things we're talking about, I didn't break my diet. I'm not doing anything extra inflammatory. I'm doing the sauna. I'm doing all my recovery. I'm like doing my mobility when it's worthwhile. You know, I'm sure we've got questions about vitamins and supplements and stuff at some point, but like I'm taking extra currents. So like I'm doing all of my things to increase recovery, you know?
But you fucking cranked that sauna, dude. I spent 20 minutes at sauna. I was going to die. Dude,
hot.
Both of us were like, are we going to make it?
Yeah, with your session in the sauna specifically,
So hot.
we had a hot one.
I remember 5 minutes, you and I were like, fuck, like, are we going to make it?
Yeah. When you start and it's 2:30, 20 minutes is
That was,
super brutal.
dude, that was so hot.
Yeah. So, and I'm not always doing the sauna that hot, but
Right,
you know,
right.
I do
Yeah.
like the sauna after a race, dude, is like magic. I get in there hobbling, I get out walking relatively normally,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
So, I'm doing all my recovery things.
Yeah,
I'm hitting my
yeah.
P's and Q's in that regard. I'm getting sleep.
Yeah.
You know? I do not compromise on sleep ever, period. That is just, again, it's not an option.
Right.
You know? So,
Which is anti what I feel like a lot of traditional endurance mindset has been. It's like, or not even just endurance mindset, just like hard work
High achiever.
mindset, right? It's
sleep is really
weak.
blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But no,
No.
that's stupid.
Yeah.
You're gonna die early.
Right.
Yeah. Like you want to live to see your grandkids sleep.
Yeah.
Like that sounds morbid, but that's just true.
It's science.
Yeah.
It's literal. Like there's documented evidence that shows that less sleep is like linked to more chance of Alzheimer's, more chance of early mortality, all these kind of things.
So I don't compromise on sleep, period. So all my little things are dialed. But I'm approaching the period in between the races. I'm like, if I can get training in, that is a bonus. But I'm going to show up to Bigfoot as healthy as I can be. And so, I take about 3 weeks to get back to kind of any sort of volume. And then before Bigfoot, I get a 3-week cycle that's fantastic. Am I pushing, like, dude, before Tahoe, like the run that I did that day you were there was like 27 miles with like 11,000 feet of climbing. And I did it at like a 1440 pace,
Insane.
And a 1440 elapsed, which is important to note.
Elapsed, yes.
And so like, and I'm not pushing that hard, in my Bigfoot training, because it's just, there's a level of risk assessment here, like I don't want to hurt myself. I'm listening to my body, all these things, So, but I get 3 weeks of quality training. I taper for Bigfoot and I show up feeling good again.
Did you do any speed?
I did strides and I did some like longer kind of tempo-ish stuff. I did no intervals.
No, like hard, like 8 to 9 RP, VO2 max. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I was doing at least one of those going into Tahoe every week. But it felt too high risk, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like at that point, it's just maintenance. It's not like building fitness. And usually speed is like a build fitness, and strides is a more maintain your VO2 max.
And then
sharpness.
like even in the gym, once I got back to squatting and deadlifting 205 for 10, I stopped there.
Oh, like you didn't build weight, because
like,
it's not about building strength.
No.
Yeah.
And honestly, 205 was just an arbitrary number I picked. I like it because it's like a 45 and a 35 on the bar, so it looks good. And I'm just like happy with it,
Yeah.
So totally arbitrary. That could be too much. It could be too little. Who knows? I don't think it's too little.
Right.
But the point being, my stimulus wasn't lifting anymore. I was doing that purely to show up, still strong, but I'm not like attempting to make gains.
Right.
There are no more gains being had once Tahoe is done.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%, because it's all like the maintain game. Do you feel like that's a mistake that a lot of people make with the Triple Crown? Like, do you feel like people just try to cram in too much training going into these races?
That's a mistake that ultra runners make. Dude, most of what I do as a coach, and I'm sure you're the same way, is tell people to do less.
100%.
Dude,
100%.
I am almost never like, hey, you need to do more.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I have ever said that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if someone dude, like George Cyrus, we can talk about him, dude.
Shout out George, by the way. Yeah, talk about George for a hot second, dude. We got to plug George.
Third at Moab, second overall in the Triple Crown, longest run in training before Bigfoot, 12 miles.
And he wasn't working with Kilian, so he works with Kilian. He's one of Kilian's athletes. That was not, that was pre-working with Kilian.
We started working together right after Bigfoot, going into Moab.
But like still, 8 miles.
Bro, he's one of the most naturally talented people
and
I've
ever met. And he was, what,
at
Bigfoot, place-wise?
I think he was 7th or 8th. Came 57 hours, but his pacer slowed him down by 5 hours, so he would have been 52 hours. Like, he is a beast, bro.
Yeah.
And so he's the only person I can think of where I'm like, oh, your thing, you just need structured training.
Yeah.
So like, we got him up to some good mileage going into Moab, but most of the time, I'm telling people, eliminate stuff. Do less, because you're doing too much. Like,
is that volume, like, I guess, for the
It can be everything. You think of the pie graph of life. If you're sacrificing sleep to get miles in, that's bad. If you're, I've had people who I'm like, let's add in some walks, and then they'll text me and be like, dude, I'm walking with a weight vest, and I'm like, that's not what I meant by walks. You know what I mean? And I understand why people make those mistakes. Like, it's an easy mistake to make. This isn't a criticism. Yeah. This is just from a coaching standpoint. This is what we do. We tell people to do less. It sounds, to someone who's not a coach, it sounds counterintuitive. Right. And so, I think it's a mistake that people make in the Triple Crown, man. Like, you're trying to optimize for 3 events that are going to last multiple days. You're not recovering and training in between those the same way that you can train for 1. Yeah. It just isn't going to happen. Right. And so I think, we've talked a lot about acceptance and the things, accepting the unknown. You just have to accept brute facts too. Like, if you attempt to show up for Bigfoot and really crank out the training, you're just going to show up for Bigfoot tired.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to show up for Bigfoot not tired.
Right.
And still maintaining and still, improving a little bit around the edges, but not tired.
Right.
That was the goal.
It's just, it's more of the goal is like not get fitter. It's just show up to the race as best as
because I'm already
possibly
fit.
can. Right. Exactly. And it's like if you recover, it's great. I mean, I even love like where, not to keep beating this point down with a hammer because we're going to Bigfoot, which I think was such a sick performance. But like,
I'm excited to talk about Bigfoot.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Like the doing less thing is like, I think a lot of times like with structured training, it's like those are the big improvements you can make. It's like not about. I think it's so easy to think, I just need to run more mileage and that's gonna equal this. And that's why I said before with the volume quote from Alex Hormozy, like it's not translatable because again, like the volume and the reps, like the reps can just be more sleep, right? Like,
dude, volume in that quote can equal a rest day,
right?
Yeah,
and I think that's huge because it's like if you are tipping the scale too much on the stress part, because like I always say like the equation for progress and adaptation is going to be rest plus stress equals output.
Excellent.
And people just think it's stress.
Yeah.
And it's like if you tip the scale too much, it's like a scale. Like you tip the scale too much with the stress and you don't have enough rest, like literally like the gains are made not in the miles you put in, you're literally making your body weaker.
Yeah.
All that gains are made in the rest, right? I think that's a concept that needs to catch on more with ultra running is because I think it, and again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but we always think it's like, we need to do more of the work. And sometimes the hardest work is letting that rest sink in so you can have the adaptations. Yeah.
And I mean, dude, I always, in any consultation call, I say the phrase, it's better to be a little bit undertrained than at all overtrained.
100%. We never want to make that choice, right? We never want to send someone in undertrained or overtrained, but like if we had to make the choice, like if someone had a gun to our head and be like, you got to send this fucking athlete.
It's an easy choice.
Right. It's easy. It's just like 10 times out of 10 because it's like at that point.
Because if you're undertrained, you can make up for it in some ways.
Yeah. And
you can make up for it mentally. Yeah. But if you're overtrained, you won't have the mental game because your mind will be fucked.
Yeah.
You won't have the physical game because you're broken.
Yeah.
And then the only way to not be overtrained is to take time off. And dude, who wants to do that?
Yeah.
So if it's, and like, if you think literally about the time, like your allocation of resources, a lot of ultra runners are running probably around 5 days a week, at least, many are running 7 days a week, so many people, or 6. So you have, let's say you're running 5, you only have 2 out of 7 days that are rest days. Those days are objectively more than twice as valuable as the training days.
Yeah.
Just in terms of the allocation of resources.
Yeah.
And you just have to, it's a lot, there's so much, dude, that's just a mindset thing.
Right.
Like reframe this in your mind to be like, oh, the rest day is valuable.
Yeah.
The 7 miles, the 7 garbage miles that are just a zone 1 run that you're doing, that's nothing, dude. Get rid of that shit. If you have bad sleep or your kids are sick or you are sick or you're stressed.
Yeah, stress, man.
Get rid of it.
Yeah. And I think that's it's really interesting thing, and I'm sure you get this a lot and I get this a lot working with athletes, but like there's just some people who feel like if they're the rest day they're not making that progress, and I think that's like a mental association that just needs to be flipped, right? It's like there's some sort of fear or thing that's attached to that. I mean,
there's an addiction.
Yeah,
we're all addicted literally to endorphins.
Right.
So like there's the physical addiction side of things. And if you can flip it to like, oh, I get to enjoy my addiction better by doing the rest, you can convince yourself to do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like it kind of goes back to that adage of like the things that are worth pursuing are hard.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you really want to nail a certain race, you really want to show up in that race the best ways possible. Like doing the hard work is not just the long runs. It's not just the speed workouts. It's taking the fucking rest day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that shit, I think, is even harder than telling someone to do like a high volume 100-mile week.
Because all ultra runners are good at the grind.
Right.
What we're not good at is being like, hey, the pencil is at a nub.
Yeah.
Let's exchange it for a new one.
Right. Like I respect Jim Walmsley so much for this year because, that dude objectively, I mean, like he could have solidified like even his legacy even more this year at what was lining up to be one of the most competitive Western states.
Yeah.
And, some may argue like he's getting later into the career and stuff like that, but he chose not to race because he was going through an injury. Right, where he could have, right? Like he could have just been like, like this is the shot, like I'm gonna go do it. But he knows he's playing the long game, and I think like that's so admirable. Right?
Use that as an example.
Yeah, and so it's so cool. So, anyways, I think it was a very important thing, and I think it's so awesome. And the reason why I want to do this is because you're someone that people are looking up to for such like great advice and like the epitome of like mental toughness. And I think there's a connotation out there that, I know we talk about like being a bitch and stuff like that. People think like taking a rest day is being a bitch. It's like, no.
It's actually a part of not being a bitch.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. So I think it was so important that we nailed that, because I think it's so important to say that. But anyways,
we also have time for the tangents.
We got time for this is fucking great, dude. We might do every podcast as a 4-hour. I might buy
at least
some real
the Joe
estate
and
here.
Kilian episodes.
Yeah, exactly. Which is great. It's an awesome benefit to have you on. We're for you guys listening into this song too, Kilian's gonna be guest host on some episodes. We've got an episode Jeff Garmeyer next week. He'll be a host on.
Hell yeah.
I want to have Zach Bitter back on, and he'll be on there too, which is cool because he's going high carb now.
There's so much interesting stuff to talk about.
Teaser. If you love Kilian, there's a lot more coming. But all that being said, let's talk Bigfoot. So you go through this period being like more rested and recovered. This is your kind of race, though,
it's
right?
The best one. It's my favorite.
You like the fucked up, crazy shit, and Bigfoot's got that aplenty. Yeah, so talk to us about that.
Dude,
yeah.
Bigfoot is my favorite race, full stop.
Yeah.
Just like, it's so cool. I mean, it is my race. It's topographically the best one for me, dude. I mean, the only like prestigious 100 I think I could be competitive in is Hard Rock, and it's that for a reason, dude. Like steep, rugged, tough.
Yeah.
You know, like up, down, not tons of super runnable stuff traditionally.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, Bigfoot, I was going into Bigfoot stoked, really excited. And it turned out to be the funnest. It is the most fun I've had in a race in my life. Like, and this was the best performance of the three, I think, objectively.
It's so interesting you say that, because that is the second one. And you would think that maybe the first one would be.
Yeah, Tahoe, the Tahoe lung, you know.
Right. Maybe, I mean, do you feel like, I guess maybe here's a good question for you, that maybe, like, if Tahoe lung wasn't a thing, do you feel like it still would have been, like, do you think it would have been better than the Bigfoot performance?
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, dude, sub 48 in a mountainous 200 would be pretty sweet.
Fucking nut at altitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think with no Tahoe lung, who knows?
Yeah.
Again,
right. We can't put the what ifs.
I'm not in the coulda, woulda, shoulda game.
Yeah. You know? You literally said before, and I was like, hey, like, what coulda, woulda, shoulda? You know?
Dude, who knows? But Bigfoot was, I mean, so I want to just spend 1 second to talk about the course change. So
true.
So Mike McKnight, his record at Bigfoot, I think, is his best performance.
And I remember going into Bigfoot when we were spending time talking together. You kept bringing that up.
Dude,
You're like, Mike
I mean, it's legendary.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's just
so. And if I look back, I looked back at my Strava when I ran Bigfoot on the OG course, and I got 202 miles. So I'm going to say 202 miles.
Yeah.
You know, my Strava for Bigfoot this year got 188.
Oh.
Yeah. So let's go with 14 miles.
Yeah.
Know? Let's just say 15 to make it a round, nice even number, because then it's kind of easy to work with. But I finished in 45 hours, right? And so my elapsed pace for Bigfoot was like 14:18,
dude,
which I was so happy about.
Fucking nuts.
But let's say I'm going 4 miles an hour for that 14 hours.
Yeah.
I'm still finishing the original course in sub 50, which
bonkers.
I love that. I mean, so Bigfoot, best performance ever, for sure. And like, it was just such a fun race, dude. Like,
do you feel like that was why? Like, you had the most fun out there?
It could have been, but it's also it's the one I like the most.
Yeah.
So like it's so different from what I'm used to. Just being in the PNW, big trees. You get out of the trees, you see volcanoes, dude. It's so beautiful and it is so wild.
Yeah.
Like so the first night of Bigfoot. Let me just go through the race a little bit. I'll get to it. But like, so we start out, you know, fields together. In these races, I always push a little hard for the first 10 miles because I don't like running in groups of more than 4 people.
And you got some good competition this race.
Yeah. So Avery Collins is running this race. You know, Mike Greer, Harvey Lewis,
Goggins.
Goggins, and I mean, dude, Brody. So we're gonna talk about Brody.
Yeah.
If you're listening, you're the best. I love you, bro.
He's amazing. I ran like 15 miles from the Tahoe, and it was probably some of the coolest 15 miles I've ever ran.
He is the most mature teenager. He's 19, dude. He turned 19 before Moab that I have ever met in my life.
Wild.
Yeah. Every time I talk to him, I'm just like, this is a man, you know?
In 10 years, he's going to be like, if he's a man now, he's going to be like He-Man in 10 years.
I know, dude. Hopefully by the time he re-enters the 200 space after doing like short, fast stuff for a while.
Is that what he's doing?
I don't know for sure, but I hope that's what he does.
We need to have him on
he's
the podcast.
fast as fuck.
We need him on the podcast.
Yeah, but hopefully by the time he starts doing 200s again, I'm like doing long trail FKTs, so I don't have to deal with him. Because he's going to come back, and he's going to do the Triple Crown, and he's going to beat my record by 10 hours, dude. He's a monster.
It's scary how
he's
good
a
he is at
mentality
19.
monster at 19. So we'll talk about him, though, because he
sure.
plays the crucial role in Bigfoot. So first 30 miles, Avery gets out ahead, and I'm watching him. He's like a mile ahead of us, and we can see him running up steep stuff. So we're all like, And I'm like looking down at my elapsed pace. We've run 20 miles, climbed enough that it's just, I don't remember the exact statistics, but my elapsed pace is like sub 12.
And you're not worried about Avery.
No, I'm like, that seems too fast to me. Like either he's gonna just crush us or he's gonna die. So who knows?
And again, focusing on your locus of control here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I'm running in a group with me, Brody, and George Cyrus, and Wes Rittner.
Oh, shout out Wes.
Yeah,
Wes, he's awesome.
Wes is a
legend,
beast, dude.
Legend.
I think he's got the most 200-mile finishes in North America.
And he is. I mean, he's a masters athlete too, which is like so. It's awesome.
Wes is not only super nice and incredibly unassuming, but he is tough and
so tough,
so experienced. Yeah.
Very good guy.
Yeah,
Very good
love
guy.
running with Wes, and I'm running with George, who had literally just signed on to be my athlete
like a week before.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And we ended up sleeping in neighboring hotel rooms the night before the race,
Unplanned?
totally on accident.
That's so
yeah.
funny.
So like I'm talking to someone in the morning, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, you're crewing. Like, who are you part of crews for?" He's like, "Oh yeah, this guy George Cyrus." I'm like, "What?"
You're like, I coach that guy.
Oh, crazy. we just had a call like 3 days ago, bro.
Oh, that's funny.
So I'm running with George, Brody, and Wes. At some point, Wes kind of drops off the back, So it's me, George, and Brody having a blast going into Coldwater Lake. First of all, that descent, so fun. I love the Bigfoot course, man. Like, it's so beautiful. So I'm just having a blast. Getting to Coldwater Lake. Avery is still there, which I'm stoked about. My aid station stop is incredibly fast and efficient. In my drop bags, like I have my drink mixes pre-mixed. I got everything ready to go. So
you just go in. I guess explain that. Like, what exactly are you doing at this aid station for people who aren't unfamiliar?
So mile 30, your crew could be there, but then they wouldn't be able to get to the next one. So
because it's a fucking 4-hour drive.
Dude, side note, my mom drove like 22 hours for Bigfoot.
That is the fucking hardest race to crew.
My crews are the MVP, dude. Like in my Moab race report, which y'all should read.
So good.
I say like my mom and Susie helped move the game forward for 200s, and I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah.
And that the aid stations will play a part in the whole Bigfoot story for sure. So I get into the aid station, drop bags ready to go. I like pull out my Nalgene's that have drink mix already mixed in them, refill my flasks, grab my headlamps, I leave.
Just go.
Yeah, and I have a Ziploc bag with all the fuel for the next section.
Why do you think people get fucked up spending too much time at aid stations?
Comfortable. Dude, they're not. They're letting the voice win. They're letting the voice win, and like these are little victories you can have over that voice.
Yeah,
aid stations are lava, dude. You used to play that game as a kid. Like the floor is lava. Aid stations bad, and they're the enemy. So
you gave that same exact advice to my wife, who's running Javelina too.
Yeah.
I was like, fucking awesome.
Yeah, dude. And I mean, I'm like, yeah. I've been trying to tell everybody this, and Brody and George made changes. So for Bigfoot, aid stations were lava for them too. And I was like, damn, maybe I shouldn't have shared my
oh shit, you saw it.
my secrets. But no, I'm just kidding. I want everybody to do better. So but I get out before Brody and George because my aid stations are super dialed and theirs are a little bit less dialed.
Right.
And then Avery went out before me, and within a mile, I'm passing Avery. And he has poles out walking a flat section. So I'm like, and I'm like, hey, you doing all right? He's like, stomach's blah. And I'm like, you want Imodium? You want something? He's like, no. So I pass him, and then we have a huge climb up to Mount Margaret. So in these races, normally I'm like, I'm not racing until mile 100, But I know he's hurting. So going up Mount Margaret, I'm like, here we go.
Just want to fucking bury him. Oh, God.
So, dude, going up Mount Margaret, I'm feeling really good. I'm a great climber, like at least hiking. And so I'm hiking. I'm flying up Mount Margaret. Dude. Like I get up there right at sunset and dude, somehow this seems to work out for me sometimes in races. Like right at sunset, the sky is purple, and I get to this like saddle where I can see Mount St. Helens and Mount Adams, and I'm just like, hell yeah. Like, look at where I am, you know? And then you run along this huge ridgeline for miles. It's so fun. And like, one of the things I love about Bigfoot is how dark it is. So like, I put on my lights, you know, and dude, outside of your light, it is blackness. It's not just dark. It's like the light is swallowed up, you know? And dude, at times on that ridgeline, you're running next to cliffs. Oh yeah. Yeah. So like every now and then, you know, out of the corner of my eye, I'm like, it's just like dark over there. I'm like, I wonder how far that goes, you know? Like,
this is fucking sketchy.
So we're cruising. There's 2 moments in the night too, near like kind of into meadows and trees where off in the woods, I just hear like in the woods. Like, and I'm like, we're going to ignore that. You know,
that didn't happen. Yeah.
No, we're good, bro. But it was loud. So loud. Who knows, you know?
Yeah. Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yeah. So you do these little out and backs in Bigfoot where you like climb Mount Margaret, you know? And so, and I'm looking back on the ridgeline, I can see headlamps. So I'm like, oh shit, don't look back. Like, I don't want them to see mine and have any hope, you know?
Do you turn off your headlamp at all?
No. I don't do that because I don't want to die.
Especially as you say, it's so fucking black. Yeah.
But I do this out and back. They don't catch me on the out and back. So I'm like, okay, it was out and back was 0.6 miles. And I'm like, I got a 0.6 mile lead, you know, at least. And then get to the next aid station. I think it's Norway Pass or something. I get in there. And originally I had planned for it to be a slightly longer stop, but I tell my mom, like, I'm in out right here. Like, all I'm doing is drinking. I'm getting out. Like, let's
you just want
exchange
to
stuff.
Keep gapping.
Yeah. And I say to my mom, I'm like, I don't want them to have any hope. I don't want them to see me. And it's funny. The aid station had this like quote of the day whiteboard that they had, and they put that quote up there right as Avery and Brody pull into the aid station. They see like, I want them to have no hope.
So they're probably like, fuck.
Yeah. So then I pull out of that aid station. I turn off my music because I've got a little bit of a climb. And so I start a timer. And then I hear the bells, you know, 10 minutes. And I'm like, okay, 10-minute lead. And that's the last time I had an appraisal of my lead until mile 100. So this whole time, I'm like, I have a 10-minute lead. All right. Next screwed aid station is road 9327, which is a 3-hour drive from that, then this one for my mom. And so that's where I'm picking up a pacer. And my pacer, Jack, who, shout out to Jack, he paced for me all 3 races. Traveled, paid to be there to come support me. Like, dude, my brother and him for all 3 races, like, unbelievable. Like,
so good.
It's hard to describe what that feels like to have people who are willing to do that for you. You know, just extreme gratitude, feel very lucky. But so he's there, and he's going to pace me in this section. But he described driving with my mom as like driving with a getaway driver, you know?
Dude, well, that section, so I've crewed Bigfoot. Driving, it's like a literal, like, fucked up Jeep road that you probably shouldn't take a car on.
Yeah.
One way, there's cars coming in and out. Like, it's sketchy.
Dude, she's flying. So he was like, he's like reading off of Cal Tapa, you know, and like reading. He's like, left turn up here. And she's like, you know? And literally, dude, I'm pulling into road 9327. They had just shut the lights off on the car.
Oh my God.
So they had been there for 2 minutes, 1 minute, maybe. You know, the trunk's not open. They're not out of the car. No one is. And so, like, they see my lights rolling in. My mom is like, holy shit. Like, I can't believe we even made it, you know?
Yeah.
So that's my first change, you know? I like change clothes. It's, I don't know, 8-minute stop, something like that. Pick up Jack. I'm feeling great. We're cruising. We make it through the night, super smooth. Pop out at Spencer Butte aid station. They have no clue we're coming, you know?
Oh, because
like,
you're just flying.
Nothing is set up. Thankfully they had the drop bags out because that's really all I needed, and water. They had a jug of water, 1 water sitting on the table. So nothing's ready. It's whatever. It's not. I don't. You know. We don't talk too much more about that. Fast by Spencer Butte, and then
Sorry.
we get through down the Lewis River, and dude, like, we're just cruising. It's amazing. I felt so good. And getting to Lewis River, my mom is actually just on a hike. So I pass her. She didn't expect us to be there.
Saw her, yeah.
So yeah, like, there's this overlook where there's this amazing waterfall, and there's this lady waiting up there. And as I'm running, I'm like, hi, Mom. And she's like, oh my God. So then she rushes off to Korth Ridge. So
that climb's brutal too.
yeah, if anybody's getting any ideas, like she didn't help me or anything.
Right,
no clue,
yeah.
There's a long ass, like very annoying out and back to the Lewis River aid station.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jess from Destination Trail who had that aid station. She was like, I knew you were going to be ahead.
Oh, Jess Green?
Yeah.
Yeah,
She was
she's
like,
great.
I knew
great.
you were going to be ahead of the expected first runner times, and so it was awesome. You know? That was all set up for me. According to the race, that was mile 100, which if that was mile 100, then I had done 100 miles of 20,000 feet of climbing in 21:10.
Oh my God. Like that is a good fucking time. Like in a race. Like it just in general. Like,
and with like lots of moto trails that are hard to run.
Yeah, it's technical,
yeah,
man.
like there's a good 2-mile section going into Road 9327 that's like a 3-foot deep rut where you're just pinballing from side to side the whole time. Like there's no, you're just like ding, 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 ding,
yeah.
So you're getting beat up a little bit. But yeah, I didn't have 100 miles on my watch yet. But let's just go with the race statistics because it sounds good.
Yeah. It's in the parameters. That's fucking impressive.
Yeah, so I get to Lewis River feeling great. Lewis River to Korth Ridge is potentially the single hardest section of any race that exists.
I've done it. I agree.
I mean, maybe there's a section of Tour that's harder for sure. I'm sure if we like nailed it down.
Yeah.
But dude,
at the US 200.
yeah, dude, it is so brutal. I mean, it wasn't the hardest section of a race for me this year, but it was statistically, with all conditions being equal, nothing exists
dude,
like
that
it.
climb is so long.
It's 17 miles.
Yep.
7,500 feet of climbing, but that's not actually the kicker because there is 4,500 feet of descending.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. It's hard to even describe because you're next to this river the whole time. First of all, the waterfalls on the Lewis River are just like astoundingly beautiful. Didn't stop to look at any of them, but I was like, cool.
The guy's cool, yeah. Clocked. Quick mental snapshot, just go, yeah.
But so like this section, 17 miles long, and dude, it's like incredibly steep up, tiny little flat, incredibly steep all the way back down to the river.
Yeah.
And you do that 10 times. I don't know how many times, but so many times. Pretty technical too.
Yeah.
Like pretty rocky. And then you cross the river, and then you have a super steep climb up to the ridge.
That climb's crazy.
Super steep. And then you get to this little crossroads, and the out and back to the aid station is long.
Yeah, it's long.
Yeah. So it's like a mile and a half. You climb first, and then you go way downhill. So then you're going to the aid station, and you're like, dude, I have to climb like 1,000 feet out of this stupid fucking aid station. Like, oh my God. Yeah. So I get to Korth Ridge. I change shoes, eat some rice and stuff, get out of there. Pretty smooth aid station stop. The next section is no joke too. It's 16 miles, 4,500 feet of climbing. That's the last section Jack and I are doing together. It ends really nicely getting the Chain of Lakes on a Jeep road. I get to that Jeep road, dude, I'm running 930s again.
Fuck.
Like I just feel good the whole time. Bigfoot's the only race that felt like that. Like it was just like fun. Awesome. Like even in Korth Ridge, hard, but I'm like, dude, this is so cool what I'm doing, So I get to Chain of Lakes, pick up my brother to pace. This is where the course changed this year, so we end up going to Cispus River, which is actually a really cool little trail. You climb up to this ridge, and then you can see Rainier and Adams. It was beautiful. Run with my brother again, dude. Big descent, really technical, moving smooth. Then get onto a Jeep road, dude. Mile 160, I'm running 930s again. I'm just like cruising.
So good.
I know.
What's going through your head at this point?
I'm like I don't know, dude. I'm like, this has never happened, I've like never been at this point of a race, and like my stride is just opening up smoothly. Like it's not like I'm stuck in the ultra shuffle. I don't have to. I'm just like, we're cruising.
Yeah.
At that point, my shin starts to hurt.
Oh.
So it starts to hurt, and anytime you have a pain in your tibia, I'm like, stress fracture.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about it.
But how do you deal with that out there? Like how do you mentally? I guess.
Fuck it. Dude, I've got 40 miles left. I'm gonna win this thing. Like, if it's a stress fracture, it's a stress fracture.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like at this point, if it gets worse, Moab's over, and whatever. I'll win Bigfoot. Cool.
Yeah.
But man, it was genuinely getting to be pretty uncomfortable at times. Like the last 40 miles, every step hurt. So that takes away from the fun a little bit, but. I'm cruising. I'm still running 930s. We were going to Cispus River. Dude, my brother is so funny. We go into Cispus River. The guy who's supposed to take all the data of people coming in, he might have been asleep. Like, and my brother's like, I don't remember what my number was. Maybe it was like 130 something. He's like, 130's here. And then the guy doesn't look up, his hat's down. My brother's like, bro, 130, 130.
The guy's like,
Whoa, oh shit. So like, get my drop bag. You know, I'm starting to be a little out of it. Typically, second night is kind of where I'm. You know,
have you slept at all?
No. So second night start where you start to get tired. Sispus River to Twin Sisters, 16 miles, 4,000 feet of climbing. Basically no downhill. All the same grade, non-technical, as close to pavement as possible Jeep road. So it never changes. And dude, it wasn't a low point. It wasn't a low, but it was a long.
It's just like
long
never-ending,
grinding. So this is one of the first times my brother has paced, where he literally paced, like set a pace for me. So he starts hiking 16s, and I'm just doing everything I can to stay on his heels. You know. Finally, I take my dirt nap. Not as good of a dirt nap as Tahoe. Got 5 minutes. I think there was like something in the woods, like a raccoon or something making noise. So like, you know, it was a little weirder. But I get up. It works well enough that the brain's reset a bit. We're hiking forever. At some point, we get to this like big long U-turn, and my brother was like looking at my phone. He's like, "You want to hear something really unhelpful?" And I'm like,
"Unhelpful?"
Yeah, and I'm like, "Not really." But he's like, "Dude, the aid station's only like 1 mile away. You know, in a straight line, like right over there." He's like, "We have like 6 miles to go." And like the map, dude, it's like, you know, it's like right in front of us, and we take this big long left turn.
I love you actually like. Before saying it was like, this is going to be very unhelpful.
Yeah. But it's too funny not to say.
Right,
you know?
right.
So we get to Twin Sisters. Still have I haven't had an update. So after Lewis River is about a mile out and back.
No,
I'm like,
no idea.
You know, my lead is 2 miles. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's a little longer, obviously, but I'm like, who knows? You know. So get to Twin Sisters, get through that aid station, have the last climb. We get to Pompey Peak. First of all,
everyone says fuck Pompey Peak.
I love it.
Yeah,
love it. I love climbing, man.
Yeah.
So I'm still feeling pretty good. But we get to Pompey Peak, and as I'm coming down, my brother looks at me. He's like, "Dude, Brody is 58 minutes behind you." You know. So Brody put in an hour on me from like if you look at the splits from Sispus to Twin, he ran that fucking climb, dude.
Jeez.
Like everything that I was hiking 16 minutes, he was running like 12s and 13s.
Which is so impressive.
It doesn't compute to me, really.
Yeah.
Like he ran that whole fucking climb, and him and Avery neck and neck. So they're both about an hour behind me, you know.
What do you think at this point?
I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. You know? But to be honest, I'm so happy because, dude, it injected instant energy. Like, not only was the sun coming up, and so I'm feeling a little better anyway, but I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
And the best thing was I had something extra to give. So then we started descending Pompey Peak. I don't know if you've run that section.
Yeah. That's why I said fuck it, because
Yeah,
it's literally just, you're on a trail and you literally just take a detour to do it out and back.
You know what the
over,
descent's like, man?
Oh, it's long.
Well,
long
it's
as
not
fuck.
only long, it's crazy. There's
Yeah.
down trees
Everywhere,
everywhere.
yeah.
But dude, there were a couple miles in that descent. We got into the 9s.
That's nuts with the fucking trees.
I took risks. Like right after coming off of Pompey Peak, I smacked my head on a tree. Had a bruise for multiple weeks on my forehead.
Oh my God.
Smacked my head on a tree. Dude, multiple times where like I'm like jumping over a down tree, and then there's another tree right behind that that's hidden that has a huge sharp branch. We were one step from like impaling ourselves on branches, and yeah, I took risks.
This is the section with the green tunnel, right?
Yeah. Green tunnel was the first time I did Bigfoot. The green tunnel was unrunnable.
Yeah,
like not this time it was runnable.
Oh, they cleared a lot of shit.
Yeah. My shin was still hurting, dude, and I caught my shin a couple times on trees in the green tunnel, and let me tell you, like reverberated up to my shoulder. You know, like pain. You know how it goes in that line? It can do that. Oh, it's so painful.
Oh gosh.
But we're cruising, dude, and so. If you look at the splits in that section, I put like 25 minutes back on Brody.
Wow. That's impressive. Yeah.
So then I get to Owens and I know I'm going to win. You know, like it couldn't come down to me racing Brody on a flat 10 miles at the end because he will crush me. Like it wouldn't even be a contest. Like I'd give it a go.
Yeah.
But that dude will beat the crap out of me in a flat race. Like there's no doubt, you know. So
he's fast.
He's so fast. So once again, though, dude, I'm pretty proud. Like coming down the Owens Creek Jeep Road, not technical and stuff, but like my mile 178 in the nines, you know? So feeling good. 10 miles to go, dude. I'm like, maybe I'm going to push a little bit. I get to a 9:30 pace. I'm like, whew, that feels bad. And then I slow down to a 10:30 and I'm like, I can do this. Yeah. So then I'm just 10:30s, 10 miles, cruise in, 45:03, Bigfoot finish. And dude, I was like, holy shit, I didn't expect to be done at 9 a.m.
Did you feel that like immediately as you finished?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude. And my brother, who is not, this sounds bad. He's not generous with compliments, but when he gives you one, it's really meaningful. Yeah. You know, he's like, dude, this is incredible. You know, best Bigfoot performance of all time.
I agree. I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it probably is.
Yeah. Yeah. Just say it. Own it. Own it.
But dude, yeah, like cross that finish line. I'm like, damn, dude. Like it has happened 2 times in a row. It was not a fluke. And like, look at what I just did. Yeah. You know, like Bigfoot, huge. And like felt good at the end, you know?
I remember talking with you after Bigfoot and it was someone was different.
Yeah.
Like you could tell. And even Alyssa, like, you know, we're all mutual friends, like, you know, all really good friends. Like we were talking, we were like, something's different with him in like a good way.
Yeah.
Like we were like, something has changed.
That's when the no limits concept was really so solidifying in my mind. Cause I'm like, dude, if you'd told me Avery's time and came third, it was basically almost exactly 48 hours. If you'd told me that was the winning time before the race, I would have been like, dude, that person had a really good race. But 3 hours faster than that, I would have been like, nah. Probably not.
Yeah.
You know? And then Brody and I are both in the 45s. Like, thank you to Brody for that push at the end. No chance would I have been that fast. Also, Brody, like, 45 minutes is so close for a 200. So you know close. What I mean? Like, that's not – I wasn't far ahead of him. And, like, dude, his performance – he would have been he would have beaten Mike's course record. Yeah. You know? So he – like – together, we put on a legendary Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Truly like incredible and like not in a way that I think people expected. You know, hard to put into words, I think, like how freaking fast that is on that course.
Yeah. It is a fucked up course.
Yeah, I
mean, I ran 100 miles of that course pacing and it is tough. I mean, and that back half is, I haven't run much of the front half of what I know from it. I think the back half is way harder.
We didn't have the Klickitat section.
That section, the Dark Side of the Moon, that's like the notorious.
We didn't have that section. So
still.
Yeah, but dude, I mean, if you go by my statistics, 188 miles, 38,000 feet of climbing. So beefy. Yeah. But if you go by race statistics, 200 miles, 42,000 feet of climbing. I'm going to prefer to believe that, even though that's not what I'll use when like comparing the two courses, you know?
Yeah.
But dude, it was that's the one I'm most happy with.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's so impressive.
And that's the one where I had so much fun, you know? And like it was a blast almost from the start to finish. Yeah. You know? And I had both races so far, no blisters. Both races so far, minimal chafing.
It's crazy.
You know, like I've learned to take care of myself. Bigfoot, dude. Let's talk about the aid stations for a second.
Yes.
Brody's moving time more than an hour faster than mine. The only reason I win Bigfoot is because my aid stations stops were like 2 hours faster than his.
And it's not even, it's so interesting because it's like, what did you do in the aid station? It's not like yes, you can do things to be faster, but it's more from an element of just like beat the voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is
there's no wasted movement.
Yeah.
You know, in the Forge and Failure documentary, you're going to see some. And you can see some Moab aid station stops actually on my Instagram, just some reels.
Yeah, and even LIU Creative's YouTube. Shout out to LIU Creative, by the way.
Dude, we'll talk about them. Yeah. But if LIU Creative Co. on Instagram, just give them a follow. Nolan and Rachel are just
amazing.
We're going to get to that because I have nothing but good things to say about them.
They're incredible.
But if you go watch some of those reels, like you'll see there is no wasted motion.
None.
You know, I'm not, if you'll allow me to just lightly tease you for a minute about your Arizona Monster documentary.
Go for it. I knew it was coming at some point, yeah.
Dude, in that documentary, you're talking to your crew.
Yeah.
I don't converse with anybody. Unless it doesn't interrupt what I'm doing. But there's no wasted anything in those aid stations, so it's like every minute has a purpose. And man, I got inspired to do by Jeff Browning for that. Like when I ran with Jeff Browning at 2024 Cocodona, we did all the same things at Crown King and he was 5 minutes faster than me. And I was like, all right, there's levels to this.
Yeah. And it was funny is Jeff learned like the year before that, learned that from Joe.
Yeah.
When Joe won in the second year.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Yeah.
So we're all making each other better out here. And dude, like mid pack, back of the pack, front of the pack. everybody can improve their aid stations.
Yeah, and then, like you said, it literally won you the race.
It won me the race. I don't win, but I don't win without them.
Yeah, like, and that's kind of like what we were talking about before. It's like free ways to improve your time. That's one of them. Like, literally, you can be the same exact fitness.
You're not trying harder.
Less fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can literally cut so much time out of your especially in these 200s where it's like, man, you go through these long freaking sections and like you get beat up and tired. Like,
I mean, I still had 3 hours of stop time. I think it was just under 3 hours, but just under 3 hours of stop time in relation to 45 hours is pretty good.
Yeah, great. Freaking awesome. Yeah, dude. So
I mean,
cool.
my moving time for Bigfoot was like in the 13.0s. It was like 13:08 or something.
It's
like
fucking
that.
crazy with
But
that terrain.
I was so stoked to have a 200 be sub 4 miles an hour for the elapsed time, and to have it be Bigfoot and have it be like a 14:18.
Yeah, after doing Tahoe.
Yeah, and I thought about that Uray run, and I was like, man, this has all translated.
yeah, so well, and so freaking cool. Like, just to see that culmination come in, because you're just riding high after that going into Moab.
It was so good.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Moab though was the race, and you told me this multiple times. That was the one where it's the least fun for you personally.
I mean, not necessarily fun.
Well, I mean, like the course structure.
It played to my strengths.
Yeah,
the least. Like, topographically speaking, I am not as strong on runnable terrain as I am on up and down.
Yeah, and going into that too, like you saw Brody's strength,
bro,
and that's a course that plays to Brody's strength.
I was not intimidated. Like, I wasn't like, holy shit, but I was inspired. That's how what I would say is like, I was like, Brody's coming for me, and I'm hungry too. But this kid is so talented. So like, after Bigfoot, all the things I said about between Tahoe and Bigfoot still apply. So, maintenance, safety first, trying to show up on race day as healthy as possible. But that being said, still managed 3 weeks of good training and shifted to all runnable stuff, dude. And I mean, it's fall in Colorado, and I'm like sacrificing my mountains to go run on hot, flat Jeep roads, So it's like, fall in Colorado is the best time to be in the mountains. Like, perfect weather. You don't have to worry about thunderstorms most of the time. Aspens are changing. It's amazing. So I still allowed myself one mountain run a week.
That's good.
Because there's mountain sections in Moab. So it's still good training. Yep. Exactly. But I did this run outside of Grand Junction in Rabbit Valley, 24-mile loop, 2,000 feet of climbing. I did that 3 weeks in a row. And the last week I did it was actually the hottest. It was like 80, 87 or 88 when I finished. And did it heart rate pretty low, like 130 at almost a dead even 9-minute pace. And so, I'm getting better at the runnable stuff. Moab has a lot of douche grade. And what I mean by that is slightly uphill, has to be run,
Because it's douche because it sucks to run, but it's too slow to walk.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We came up with the opposite, which is cruise grade.
Oh, it's a very positive association.
Cruise grade is going downhill on douche grade. Is what's ironic about it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So it's like the downhill, it's nice, but the uphill is
terrible.
Yeah, no, not good.
Yeah,
not
so
good.
Shifted my training around to be like running focused. Because I was like, man, if I'm gonna win Moab, and like, okay, so overall Triple Crown record, #1 goal, but man, the clean sweep, dude, how much better does that sound? So
was that more motivating to you than just the record?
Probably. Yeah. At that point, because it was so close. And I'm like, man, like, how cool would that be?
Was that your goal in the beginning? I mean, it was just to win the Triple Crown, right?
No,
like,
I was thinking the clean
record?
sweep.
Yeah.
I was thinking clean sweep, and I definitely wanted the overall record. Right, but I was going into the year like, overall record is #1.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
But coming into Moab, I'm like, dude, the clean sweep sounds so fun.
Yeah.
And cool. And now this documentary is being made, and like, I'm like, man, the story's better if I win Moab,
and
right?
no limits.
Yeah, and no limits, exactly. Yeah. So transition my training to be running focused. I'm like, I need my hammies and my glutes. These things got to work
because they work a lot more on those flat sections. Oh my gosh, yeah.
So you're not changing up the muscles being used as much. So in between Bigfoot, focusing on running. In between after Bigfoot, I start getting some opportunities. I signed my first professional contract at Creeper Socks. Amazing sock company. Toe socks normally don't get blisters. Shout out to Phil Gore, who's also on the Creepers team, who just won Big's Backyard Ultra. That guy is a monster.
Impressive.
So, and then it's a good opportunity to talk about Nolan and Rachel. So they're filming a documentary for Brody at Bigfoot. They see me, and they contact me after
It was
the race.
Avery, right?
I'm sorry. They're filming a documentary for Avery
Yeah.
at Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Did I say Brody?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're filming for Avery at Bigfoot. And then they send me a message afterwards. They're like, hey, Kilian, we'd like to work with you on a project. I send Ultraspire a message. I'm like, hey, guys, like, you want to fund the documentary about the Triple Crown? And they're like, yes. So this all comes together pretty quick. I contact you. We have some meetings with Ultraspire. Like, all this is happening, you know? And then I just want to tell a story about my first call with Nolan because it was amazing. Like, so I'm talking. I have a meeting with you and Ultraspire where I describe my vision for the documentary. And I'm like, I want this to be a little bit different because I want it to focus on the failures.
Yeah.
I want it to focus on the backstory, and I'd like it to focus on crew because I feel like the backstory and the crew are what makes my story unique. It's not that I'm a good runner.
You're a great runner.
No, you know what I mean. But it's not like that's not what's unique about the story.
Yeah.
It's not that. And the achievement it can speak for itself, but I want to highlight these two things. I want to highlight the failure, and I want to highlight what's an extra piece that's making me successful, and that's the support. So you're all on board with that.
Yeah.
Then I have a call with Nolan. I have never met him in my life. This is the first time we're ever speaking. And so he's like, hey, man, I want to pitch my idea for your documentary. And he's like, I want your documentary to tell your story about all your failures. Like, we know what happened at Cocodona 2023. We want to talk about that. We want to talk about your DNFs last year. We know that you are all about your family and your crew and your support system. And we want to highlight that. And I'm literally sitting in my house like, what the fuck? I'm like, did you like incept me? You know? Like,
you fucking wiretap the Zoom call.
Like, what has happened? So, instantaneous connection, you know, where I'm like, I think these are the people that tell the story, you know? And so then that all comes together, you know, leading into Moab, we're filming training footage and doing interviews with them. Lo and behold, like, they are now lifelong friends. I'm very confident in saying that. They have like a wonderful family. Their kids are all awesome. Like, they're just such good people and so enthusiastic about what they do. Like, they're both ultra runners, so they get it from that side. But then, like, my dedication to being dialed with ultra running and all those things, like the purposeful stuff we've talked about, they have all of that for filming, you know? So, once again, LIU Creative Co. Like, follow them on Instagram. And if you want something filmed, you want something made right, like, they'll put in the work, dude. At Moab, they collectively ran almost 40 miles of the race with me, you know, heavy cameras. They're putting out reels in the middle of the fucking night. They're not sleeping, you know. I know going into it, he's super stressed because he's like, I want the story, you know. Like, and so they're investing in me and believing in me with the risk that their project falls apart if I DNF. Their project, and like, I didn't feel any of this pressure because it's like, it's whatever, you know. But objectively speaking, like, they're taking a risk on this. Like, filming for ultra running, there's no sure things. It's not making a movie. There's no sets. This is life. You know, and it's life where you control only 30% of the variables. You know, so I just like can't thank them enough for believing in me in that way. You know, like, just genuinely so grateful for that and for their, you know, utter dedication to the craft. So going into Moab, you know, training goes well. I'm still feeling good. I feel, it's like I've got more logs, motivational logs to throw on the fire than ever before. You know, so I'm going into it with the mental game. I'm like, nothing will break me, you know, unless physically you get broken, you know, but nothing mentally is ever going to happen. Like, I'm an iron bar going into this. Like, I'm steel. Come and try to bend me, you know? Thank you, Ronnie James Dio, for that lyric.
Is that a Dio lyric?
Yeah.
Wait, really? Which song is it?
It's when he was in the band Rainbow. It's called LA. Yeah, LA Connection. Yeah, but I'm steel. Come and try to bend me, dude.
Damn.
I think that all the time.
R.I.P. Dio.
Yeah, for real.
R.I.P.
Dude, I think we're making the best podcast
awesome.
ever right now.
This is great.
Yeah,
this is so
if
good.
people are not entertained by this,
dude, this is fucking great. This is fucking. I should do like, this is motivating me. I want to do all my fucking podcasts like
it's
this.
so fun, man.
It's just like we have time for like all like the fucking like
the tangents.
Like, shout out Dio. Like,
excellent.
If we had this in an hour-long podcast, Dio would not get a shout out.
No,
not because he's not great, but just, you know,
because it would get cut. But he deserves it.
Yeah, fucking R.I.P. Dio. If you don't know what Dio is, fucking holy
look
diver,
it up,
man. Come on, Rainbow in the Dark, dude.
So this is amazing.
So good.
But yeah, so going into Moab with just like, objectively high stakes. But dude, I didn't feel any pressure.
Why is that?
Because I knew what I needed to do.
Yeah.
I had a really fun run. I went and trained with Brody. We shot some footage. One of the most rewarding things about this year has been becoming friends with him. Like, so same thing with you, like joining Everyday Ultra, becoming friends with you. But like,
same here.
Like meeting Brody and just getting to know him, dude, so fun. And like, that's another thing about the sport, dude. You just meet special people, and he's one of them for sure. So it's like, I'm stoked to be able to call him a friend and just like, dude, I'm stoked to see what he does in life.
He's going to be fucking crushing it.
So that'll be exciting. But, train with him. Taper goes well. Dude, sleep in my bed the night before Moab.
How's
the first
that?
time I've ever been able to do that for a race. Amazing. I could totally get used to that, dude. The race gave me a little bit of an exception, so I didn't have to go to the check-in, and stuff. So I checked in day of, arrived there. I walk to where my whole family's sitting, and this is the first moment I feel any pressure. Like, my grandpa's there. He's 88. He flew all the way from Seattle. This is potentially his last trip. Last time on a plane, and he's flying to see my race, dude. My grandma's there. They're from different sides. They're my two living grandparents. They're both there. Aunt is there. Cousins. Other parts of my extended family. My dad's cousin, who we're close to her family. She's there. Family friends are there. We've got an Airbnb filled with 20 people. And they're all there. And I was just like, like they're
what
here.
Was that like?
That was the only moment where I was just like, I felt 1 second of pressure. I took a deep breath, and I know what to do. All I need to do is execute, and I know how to execute at this point. So I'm going into Moab, and I'm like, my plan's going to work. The proof is in the pudding. All I got to do is run.
Why do you think people feel like that pressure, though? Why do you think people feel the pressure even if they're like well trained going into a race?
I don't know. I expected to feel it at some point because everyone around me is telling me. My mom is texting me all the time, like, "How you doing? How you feeling?" She's stressed about it. Susie's stressed about it. Nolan's stressed about it. So like everyone around me is feeling it, but I was calm, cool,
That's
collected,
awesome. Yeah.
and I don't have an answer to that.
Because you've done the fucking work.
Yeah,
and it's delusional, like self-belief. But at this point, it's not.
Delusional. At this point, it's not delusional.
It's
but
fucking real.
At this point, it's like proof.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know what's working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking great. Yeah. So, and I love that, like, when you take it, it's like, I'm just kind of thinking about that because it's so cool. It's like you feel the pressure, take 1 second, reframe, remind yourself about it, and then you're locked in again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
So, yeah, going to the start line was kind of cool because as I'm making my way through the start line, like, there's like an audible kind of like, oh, Kilian's here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can feel it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was sort of cool. I get to the start, the front, and Andy Glaze does his like prediction video where he's like, hey, if this comes true, you'll see this video. If this doesn't come true, you're not going to see this video. But I think this guy's going to win it. Camera on me.
Did he give you a heads up with that, or
no.
you just went right in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then start cruising, dude. Our first two miles were a sub 8. Which
that's how it goes.
Who knows, man? We're running. Again, it ends up me, Brody, and George, and we had another guy named Chris running with us for a while. So me, Brody, and George. First part of the race, we had all brought enough stuff. We didn't stop at the first aid station. It's only 8 miles in. Cruising to Amasa back. It's wet.
Talk about the conditions that year.
Yeah,
that year. I say that year like it was like so far.
Yeah.
It was literally 2 fucking weeks
yeah.
ago. Yeah.
I don't know if it was raining yet, but it's like you're in a cloud.
Yeah.
So everything's wet already. Going into mile 16. It's funny. We pop out on this dirt road, getting to the first, or it's actually a paved road that turns into a dirt road, getting to the first aid station. And dude, Brody's setting the pace and we're running 740s.
Fuck.
And I was like, Brody, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
And he's like, all right. And we slow down to 8s.
He's like, okay, yeah.
So slow down to 8s, cruise into the first aid station. George, his first aid station stop, is like a minute faster than mine. Dude.
It's because you're coaching him.
Yeah. So he's in and flies out of there. Me and Brody out of there at the same time. At that aid station, important, I called my first audible. And I went from 2 bottles of drink mix to 1 bottle of drink mix, 1 bottle of water.
Why is that?
Because I didn't need all the salt, dude. Temperatures are cool.
Yeah.
I was like, we're changing this up right away.
Yeah.
So
good pivot.
Yeah. Made a pivot. George did not make that pivot. And that'll come back to bite him because I talked about this with him. But yeah, so made that pivot. Important. So switched to half water, half electrolytes. Cruising again, lots of runnable stuff. Around 26 miles, George drops off. So it's me and Brody. We get hit base camp at the same time. Man, shout out to Ultraspire because my hydration system with 3 bottles, much faster to fill up than having to fill up a bladder.
Oh, yeah.
So
dude.
I get out a minute or two before Brody, which I'm kind of sad about at that point. I'm like, man, I kind of want to run with Brody. I'm not going to wait for him.
Yeah, right.
But I want to run with Brody, right?
Like, I want to run with you, but not that bad.
Yeah. So then he catches up to me, thankfully.
Yeah.
And then we're just moving, dude. So we get on the Lockhart Basin Road. It's up and down. We're like, I feel like we're attempting to find places to walk, but we get through I lap my 50s on my watch. So get to the first 50. It's an 8:58.
Oh my!
And I tell Brody, and both of us are just kind of like, whew.
And there's like what 7,000 feet,
something like that.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not climbing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but 8:58, and so we're both like, well, the pin is out of the grenade now. Like we're gonna hold on to this thing. About mile 52, 2 miles from the aid station, Brody's like, hey, I'm going to walk. And so as I'm leaving, I jokingly say to him, I'm like, all right, Brody, I hope I don't see you again. Just like light trash talk, which with what's about to happen made me feel kind of bad. But he takes it in stride. And he's like, oh, dude, you're going to see me. So it was taken in the spirit it was meant.
You guys are friends.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, like, Yeah.
So I get into the Oasis. I'm in and out. I have a blast on the way to Indian Creek. I'm cruising again. Mostly running sub-10s, easy peasy. I'm listening to the K-pop Demon Hunters soundtrack.
I need to watch that fucking movie.
Bro,
Yeah.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what's going on behind me. So I don't know that Brody has been held at that aid station and stuff. We'll talk about that. Get to Indian Creek, pick up a pacer. My feet are a little rough, so super wet. I pop a blister at Indian Creek. Change all my clothes, pick up Luke Metzger. Shout out to Luke, dude. That guy ran a sub-30 URA this year. He's incredible.
That's so fucking
fast. He's
so
fast.
Dude.
So if you know the URA 100, that should blow your mind.
Blows my fucking mind, I'll tell you that.
So start running with Luke, and dude, we're cruising again. Get to the islands. Not too bad yet. Some sections of sticky mud. Leave the island. Tons of mud. Raining. And not sticky mud yet, but soupy, dude. Like sometimes we're sinking down to our ankles. It's like trying to suck off your shoes, you know? So that section's hard, but not too bad. Get to Bridger Jack. It's raining, cold. Put on a rain jacket. Now we're going to Shea. The Shea section, we have maybe a mile of a Jeep road where we're cruising, and then we get onto the technical single track. And dude, it's just like sinky mud, rivers running everywhere. Get into the wash, sticky mud. I fall in the mud. Then 10 minutes later, I fall neck deep into a puddle, and I don't get any wetter, Oh. And then we take our sharp right, and we're on this cow-hoofed out paths, and you have to cross these rivers, dude, and they're so slippery, and they're so steep on the other side of these little washes, so you're just slipping, sliding everywhere. Every step is, a tenth of a step because of the mud. So it was like, dude, 16 miles of that, and then it changes to sticky mud. So then your feet weigh 1,000 pounds. Dude, mile 110, 1,200-foot mile of like vertical gain. That mile, all sticky mud, dude.
Oh.
So you'd have to step. You'd wait for your foot to settle in the mud, and then you'd step. And then you'd wait for your foot to settle in the mud, and then you'd step. And your legs weigh more. Your feet weigh more. Your feet are articulating a bunch. So I'm getting blisters. My tape has slid into the crotch of my toes, the web of my toes, so I can feel the tape cutting into my toe webbing.
Oh, my gosh.
So, yeah. I mean, to be fair to us, dude, I don't think we got too down on ourselves. Because at that point, like, you can either laugh or cry, and we laughed. Like, you're just like, what are we doing here? And we took a ton of footage in that section, Luke did, because he had a handheld camera. And I hope it translates to how insane it was, because it's hard to describe, dude. It was like a rainforest, but the desert, and the desert doesn't do well with water.
No, it's not designed for that shit. Yeah.
So like nothing's getting soaked up. There's just water flowing everywhere. We finally get to the top of the climb. I'm like, yes, we're on a Jeep road. And then that Jeep road is all clay. So then it all stacks up on your shoes and you can't run. Like we should have been running 8s, like we should have been flying, and we're walking 24-minute miles, Like,
you think that's the hardest section you've ever been in ultra?
Oh, so hard, dude.
Like by far,
for sure. Because of the mud.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it's so much slower than I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck. I mean,
And it took a lot out of you.
Yeah. And was this a point where it started to get close to type 3 fun?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's already translated in my mind to look back and be like, what a great time. You know, what an adventure.
That's great, yeah.
But at the time, I'm like, holy shit, dude, this is crazy. And I've never been in a race where, like, I'm looking ahead to the rest of it. And I know what the terrain looks like because I've paced it. And I'm like, what if this is like that?
How do you contain that in your mind? Just like...
You just banish that thought. You're like bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye.
But I'm thinking, I'm like, I don't think Dry Valley would turn into mud because it's mostly sand. But what if it's muddy? You know, I'm counting on being able to run that section.
Suck with
right?
so much mud. I mean, literally ruin the benefit you get of that section.
Yeah. So at that point in the race, I'm like, ooh, baby.
Yeah.
This could really be something. But get to Shea Mountain, pick up my brother for 12 miles. We climb. It's beautiful. At that point, dude, my climbing legs, I'm like, man, I'm normally good at climbing, but they're feeling tired. And I think it's because my feet just weighed 20 pounds for 18 miles.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm a little more tired on the ups than I think, but then going down, I'm feeling good. We get to a little runnable section of a Jeep road, open up to 930s again, you know, like chilling. Then I pick up my friend Jack. So, again, paced all 3 races. Amazing. We start off from Monticello Lake. Monticello Lake, mile 126 was the last time I tried to address my feet. So I took off all my tape. I put on a pair of socks. I didn't look at my feet till the end of the race.
I remember you telling me that. I was like, yeah, at that point, you're just like,
Screw
fuck it.
Yeah, whatever.
Like, fuck
dude,
it.
The chafing, terrible. I'm trying to do something about that. You'd get like everything set down there, and then it would slightly move around, and it would just be like, fire.
Just like,
yeah. So, you know, all the little quality of life things are going quite awry at this point. But, dude, we're still moving well. Jack and I cruising along. 8-mile section of clay, like run into it, dude. It took so long, and I mean, again, morale not super low. It's like it's what it is, you know, whatever. But dude, like, you know, when it stacks up on your feet so much that even when you go to step, like you're like hitting the mud off your feet as you go to step.
Yeah,
dude, your feet weigh so much, and it's so slippery. Like I fell in the mud, and I have it all over my back and my leg. Jack almost falls trying to help me up, like. It was garbage.
Oh, gosh.
Finally, you know, we get to Dry Valley. I change into road shoes. Shout out to my athlete Ben Lehman. You know him.
Ben's
dude,
awesome.
His girlfriend was there running the race, but he took time out of his day when he could have been sleeping to come crew me.
Oh, it's so awesome.
So he's there helping me out. You know, so he's great. And you know, get to that aid station, put on road shoes. I'm like, Jack, we're running this whole section. You know, he's like, oh, great.
You told me the story earlier. I fucking love the story in this section.
So, you know, we start off, the first 14 miles to the Needles is like all douche grade. Slightly uphill. And, you know, I'm just like nose to the grindstone. You know, we're moving steadily. And you just don't let up, you know. This is where you're fighting that battle, you know. This is where you beat that voice, and you just don't let it fucking win, dude.
Yeah, because he's telling you, it's like, walk
the whole time.
Yeah.
And then you get to a paved road, you take a left, and you start going a little steeper uphill.
Yeah.
And your brain's like, dude, we could be walking.
Yeah.
No. I had decided beforehand that whole section was going to be run, you know. So finally, make it to the Needles aid station, and I actually tried to take a dirt nap there, so I laid down for like 2 minutes, just wasn't falling asleep. I was like, all right, we're moving. Got out of the Needles, felt rejuvenated a little bit, actually, and then Jack and I just start cruising. It's like mostly downhill to Road 46. You know, we're running everything. It does give me a little joy that Jack was tired, you know, so we start running up some hills, and I can just like see him slowing down a little bit, and I'm like, nice. This is a good sign.
Yeah.
You know, this is a good sign that I'm moving well. Then, and we got this on camera, so Nolan's waiting for us, you know, about 2 miles from the aid station. But in the middle of nowhere, dude, coming into Road 46, we see a truck pulled over, you know, lights on, motor on. And we're like, I wonder what this guy's doing out here. He gets out of the car, phone, flashlight, videoing, and he's like, dude, I've been tracking you for days. I came out here just to see you. Like, you are crushing it, man. Like, we have this on camera. Like, we got footage of this. So this guy just knew about the race, found out about it somehow. Drives out to this Jeep road, literally middle of nowhere, like an hour from Moab, but not close to town. Yeah. It's 1:20 a.m. or something like that, you know. And he's like so stoked to see me, You know, so that was a pretty cool moment.
That's so cool.
You know,
yeah.
and that was one of the moments where I'm like, man, what I'm doing, I'm like lucky to be doing this. You know, like I got to run with my really good friend Luke. I get to run with my really good friend Jack. I'm going to go run with my really good friend Blake through LaSalle's, and then I'm going to finish with my brother. Like, to have that much love in your life, you can't take that for granted.
Yeah, that's so fucking awesome. And it just goes back to even just like how important like the crew is. It's just like, it's not even just a part of them helping you, it's making the memories more special.
Yeah, it was amazing. So finish with Jack, pick up Blake. We head into the LaSalle's. At this point, I'm suffering from the first ever so everything that touches my tongue makes me gag. I try to eat some rice. I'm like, oh.
There's a video where you're like, I can't eat this right now.
Yeah,
or you're like, this is not happening.
It's
or
not
something.
happening. So, like, literally the moment something touches my tongue that's not water, instant nausea.
That's crazy.
Don't know what that was. It's not gel related, you know. It's just everything. So what I would do is like put a little bit of water in my mouth, a little bit of gel, take it like a shot, you know. So that's how I was eating the rest of the race. Just assume if that's happening for 70 miles.
Real quick, just a quick pause. You know, you said a quote. I told you this. It stuck with me about like eating gels and you don't want to. What's your response to
that? Nobody wants to.
Yeah.
Just fucking do it. Yeah. These are tools. Don't frame it as an option. This is what you're doing here, you know?
Yeah.
Like when I've had a few friends like Luke and Blake who pace for me and they're like, well, but dude, don't you get palate fatigue? Like that's just wimpy palate, you know? Like, dude, just eat it. Yeah. Do I want to eat anything? No, I don't. But you just do it because this is the tool.
It's what's required.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. And I've been telling my athletes all that same thing. I'm like, dude, it's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Do you want to or not? Like, you don't want to fucking run when it's 80 and 100.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, do it.
Just fucking do it. I love it.
Yeah.
And you take that same approach when you're literally going to puke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has to happen.
Yeah.
Once it gets in my stomach, it's okay. In my mouth, you
yeah,
know, like,
just do it.
Do it.
Just
so
do it.
We start heading up to Pole Canyon. It's like 52 degrees. So at some point within 2 minutes, it changes from 52 degrees and like balmy to 34 degrees and like raining sideways, dude. So I go from being like warm to a full on popsicle. With our heads down in the rain, we took a wrong turn. Always kind of sucks, you know. So we added like maybe a mile total, you know. But get to Pole Canyon. I'm putting on leggings. Brody, who I realize is DNF'd at this point, he is there volunteering to help me because, dude, no one he knows you have to volunteer for 4 hours at a time. So the next person's 10 hours behind me. Jeez. He's there just to help me. So again, Brody, stellar character. So he's there. I'm putting on these leggings. He kind of made fun of me after the race. He was like, dude, I could tell you were hurting because you sat down. He was like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
you know?
like, what are you doing?
So I'm like putting on wet leggings in front of this like tiny propane fire. It was awful. And then I have a buff on my head and I look at Brody. I'm like, dude, do you have an extra beanie or something? Dude, he just takes the hat right off his head and just gives it to me.
Oh,
you know?
so awesome.
So amazing, you know. So I roll off into the darkness. Brody's beanie keeping my ears warm. And then we head into LaSalle's, like the bigger LaSalle section, and my climbing legs are smoked, I think because of all the mud. And I take what turns out to be my final dirt nap, you know, at some point. There's a good video of it.
Good.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, it looks so comfortable.
Dude,
so
when
cozy.
you get a dirt nap right, you're in the netherworld.
Oh, it is.
You get pulled out of it and you're like, whoa, here we are.
You're in
you
the fifth dimension.
Yeah, it's blackness.
Yeah.
like when you're dreaming and you're asleep, you're unconscious, but like, you know, you're still a human being.
Yeah.
But it's like you've died.
It is.
When you're taking a dirt nap.
It is.
And then you're revived.
And you're like, where the fuck am I?
Yeah.
For like 1 second, and then you're like, oh no, we're here. Like we're in the fucking race.
So then start moving again, and dude, move pretty smoothly. Everything goes fine. It's just slow. Get to Geyser. That's a fast aid station stop again, and then I'm on my way. Like last 40 miles. So run with my brother for the last 40. I can cruise all the stuff that's not technical. I had a series of miles that was like 10:05, 10:11, 10:05, 10:11, you know, over 200 miles in at this point. So I'm pretty happy with that. You know? And I came up with a new mental strategy in this section where I was like, I'm a metronome. You know, all I'm doing is focusing on turnover. It's just like tap, 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 tap. All that exists is turnover. And when you focus on that, you go faster.
You gave me that tip, Middle Arizona Monster.
Yeah,
Remember that?
Yeah. And it's like, you don't have to try harder. Just tap, 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 tap. You know, keep the rhythm. You know, hit a technical section. I'm done. I'm a rag doll once again. You know, so I go from I'm a metronome to I'm a giant piece of garbage rolling down this hill. So, you know, it changes in a second. Yeah. But I get to the last aid station, Porcupine Rim, you know, still moving well. At this point, I'm like, we know I'm 10 hours ahead or something like that. But I do want to finish, like, I'm trying to beat Max's time. My goal is to beat it by more than 10 hours, which I did. I'm trying to set, you know, a really, really good time at Moab, you know. And so we start heading down from Porcupine Rim. I also, dude, I'm trying to get to the Overlook looking into Castle Valley because my brother's never seen that before. And I'm trying to get it in light. And we end up getting there right at sunset. Like, how does that happen? In this 200-mile race, how lucky can you get to one of, like, the most beautiful points on the course at sunset?
Right.
So I get there and then, like, I take 5 breaths there, too. I never stop to look at views in races. But it was so good. And I'm with my brother, and we're just like, he's been with me for the finish of every race. And I think just like for a moment for the two of us, it was pretty cool, you know?
That's fucking
just being
awesome.
like, wow, we're both here, and like, look at this, and look what's about to happen. Start heading down Porcupine Rim. When I paced it, I remember like thinking, you know, this is reasonably flowy, you know? Fuck that. Like, no, it's not. Dude, I'm tired. And in the dark, I start having this hallucination where different colored rocks are showing up as different depth perceptions.
Oh my
so I literally
God.
can't tell where rocks are in space. I start smashing my mangled toes on things. And like every time I hit my toe, it's like a piece of my soul is eaten. And I'm never getting it back.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like, there it goes. It's gone. Yeah.
So I tell my brother at one point, I'm like, dude, I want to try not to hit my feet because it's hurting so much. And he was like, okay, that's fine. Like he's like, if we cruise in at this pace right now, you're going to be in the 58s. And he's like, with the conditions and with the course, that's one of the best Moabs, if not the best Moab of all time, you know? So I'm like, okay, I feel like we're doing something special here still. So we finally make it down to the road. I have never been so happy to be on pavement.
Yeah.
That's not normally something I'd say.
Yeah.
But I get on pavement and I'm like, oh, yes.
Yeah.
Like, tap, tap, tap. I'm a metronome once again.
Metronome,
you know?
yeah.
So we're running. Again, my brother's not one for compliments, but about a mile out, dude, he looks at me. He's like, this is really cool what you did here. Like, you brought all of our family together for this. Like, they're here for you, you know? And I'm like, you're not the one who's allowed to make me cry.
Yeah.
Like, this is bullshit.
Did you
dude.
cry in that moment?
I definitely choked up, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'm not saying this in front of the rest of the family. You know?
He's like, shut the fuck up. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, and then you can finally see the lights of the city and, you know, come around. I run up the hill on the bike path because I'm like, dude, we're running the whole thing, you know?
Yeah.
And then you like go around the corner and, man, finishing Moab was crazy. Not only am I super out of it mentally, but like the corral was full of people. It's 10 p.m. and there's not a space on the fencing. And the lights are so bright. And I was already having issues with my vision. So the whole experience of crossing the finish line was outrageous. I was so overwhelmed sensorily, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy. But, dude, I crossed the finish and I'm like, dude, I did it. You know, like, it happened. Like,
yeah. What was that feeling immediately?
Man, I mean, listen, you finish any of these races, the overwhelming feeling is I'm happy to be done.
Yeah.
Like,
the best is the post-race interview where they're like, what was your favorite part of the race? And you're like, right now.
yeah, right now. Yeah. I mean, I think I still managed to string together mostly coherent sentences. But I think you look at me in that interview and you're like, bro, that guy needs a nap.
Dude, so the first 2 interviews that they had post-race, you look great and you sound great. And then the third one, you sound great. You look very tired.
Yeah, dude. My eyes are like slits.
Yeah, you're like the best part is like, Kilian, you just won the Triple Crown. Like, how do you feel? Tired.
Yeah, so tired, dude. I'm like, man, it's cool. It's cool.
So good.
It like obviously, dude. It takes some time for this shit to settle.
Yeah.
Like,
when did it hit you?
2 days.
2 days.
Yeah. Like when I was like driving back to the finish to see DFL and I'm like going back there, I was just like, man, like it happened. Like I am currently the Triple Crown record holder. Like that's pretty cool
the best
to say.
to ever do it.
Yeah. Like that's cool. You know, like the Instagram stuff was all happening. So I'm like getting all this attention. You know, Cam Haynes shouts me out while the race is still going on. That like comedian makes a video about me on Instagram, you know, like, so all that shit's happening. And it's so crazy, dude. Yeah.
Dude, it's wild, man.
So satisfying. I mean, one part that I'm really happy about, like with Moab in particular, is like I could have gone in and played it safe, you know? I did not do that.
No, you
An
went fucking
8:58
hard.
first 50, a sub 20 hour first 100 is not playing it
No,
safe.
it's not. You went hard in the paint.
Yeah,
Like, you
dude.
came in a ball.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, it's like Kobe, right? Like to go back to that analogy, like, you know, even when they were out of the playoffs, even when it like didn't matter, that man still balled.
Everything, yeah.
That man still balled. Yeah.
So it's like I'm proud of the mentality going into Moab because it wasn't one of like, I want the Triple Crown record, so I'm going to be cautious here. It wasn't one like, oh, the conditions are beating me up, so I'm going to slow down.
Yeah.
Like, no. The hammer was down until the last 10 miles when I didn't feel like mangling my toes anymore.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay with that.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, it was like, even with that, it was good. Yeah.
So like, that's what I'm most happy with Moab, was just like, it stayed, even though I wasn't in a race, I didn't have competition pushing me in the same way that I did at Bigfoot. I fucking held myself accountable, dude. The voice didn't win.
Didn't win.
No.
Yeah, it's so fucking good, dude. And I love it. You like fucking pushed it to the end, man. It's fucking awesome. And I guess like as the thought of like the whole accomplishment changed, like being here now 2 weeks removed.
I mean, dude, I think the puzzle of the Triple Crown is a true puzzle, and I nailed it. Like, that's another thing that I like just looking back at the year is like, my approach was smart. You know, I got in the training that I could manage to get in between the races, but I didn't do anything to damage myself.
Yeah.
You know, like I think the approach was correct. Obviously, the fueling strategy works. You know, the sleep approach was correct. Don't plan your sleep. Don't be a bitch about it. Don't hang out in aid stations and just sleep on the dirt, dude.
Yeah.
Like, just do it.
Yeah.
You know, and get out there and execute. Like, I managed to make the plan work 3 times in a row, which there's a lot of luck involved. You know, like one bad step, everything's over.
Yeah.
But all the controllables went my way because
Yeah.
I managed to make that happen. My aid stations, my crew, all of that, amazing. And like the overwhelming feeling after the Triple Crown and after Moab is still gratitude. You know, like I'm thankful for my family who was all there. I'm thankful for Susie, dude. Like, I can't tell you, it's been 7 years. I have 2 college degrees, dude. And for 7 years, I've been working jobs where I wasn't making good money. You know, like she's supporting our family. She's supporting our lifestyle. She's supporting all of my running. And now to repay her belief in me, like it chokes me up a little when I think about it, because like she didn't like delusional self-belief in yourself is one thing. Delusional self-belief in another person, like, who am I to deserve that? You know what I mean? Like, and so I'm so thankful to her. I'm thankful to, you know, my brother who had seen my DNFs, who'd been there for the DNFs, you know, like my friend Blake, dude, he's seen all the failures and has remained supportive and believed in me. Like, I'm lucky to have all that, you know, like it's when you think about the human experiences that are possible when you're just an unborn person getting sucked into the world, like to be having the one that I'm having is outrageous. And like, just doesn't, I will never take it for granted. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. And it's so cool because like, dude, like you earned it. You know what I mean? Like you earned it. And it's just been amazing. And just to see the journey and see the whole thing unfold. And now you're inspiring other people to do the same in their stuff too, which is pretty fucking rad, dude.
Yeah. I mean, my hope is that like the way that I felt about Mike McKnight in 2019, I hope there's someone out there who's hungry, who's looking at me, who's like, oh, if that guy can do it, I can do it.
Bro, me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, it's inspiring to me too, because I think about it and I'm like, fuck, like, and I think the cool thing with this interview, I hope people see this and like, they're like, and whether it's Triple Crown, whether it's fucking whatever, it's like, I think this interview is so good to like look and see like, what are the areas in my life that I want to go all in on, or like what are the 1% of things. It doesn't even have to be the whole thing, that it can be better. And I think you're the epitome of that, man. Like, and I think it's just so fucking cool.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I hope that is the case. And I just like, what I want to be able to do is help uplift people, you know? And if someone is inspired by the story, that's the most rewarding thing that can possibly happen. You know,
100%.
If someone goes and sees Forged in Failure and they're like, oh shit, like, oh, I can do something. You know, it doesn't have to be running. If they're a painter, they're a struggling artist, you know, and they're like, oh, okay, I can be my best self this way.
Doesn't have to be ultra running.
It applies to everything, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and the little voice applies to everything because everybody's got that.
Yeah.
Everybody's got the one calling them a piece of shit. Everybody's got the voice that's saying, stay in bed. You know, are you trying to run your business? Are you trying to create art? Are you trying to raise your kids better? You know, maybe that last one doesn't apply, but you're just trying to be a better person overall. You're like, just you can improve around the edges, be forgiving of yourself when you make mistakes and learn from your mistakes and then move forward. You know, like that's what I hope people can take from it. And I mean, it gives me a lot of pleasure. Like I think, you know, the documentary Walmsley and his whole thing with UTMB, like his whole story of failing a bunch, you know,
so good.
Like I hope that like someone can kind of see that in my story, you know, because that was one of the most inspiring things I've ever watched. You know, it like made me cry at the end, dude. I'm like, oh my God, like this guy tried over and over and over again. And like, I just hope that, you know, that's how it feels with me. You know, it's like, that's what I want people to relate to in that regard.
100%. And I think that makes the story more relatable. Like, I think it's like if you just went out and, you know, when you first were like, I want to nail these 200s and you just nailed it on first try. I mean, it would be impressive.
It would be amazing.
Like, don't get me wrong. But I think your journey makes it more relatable.
Yeah.
And I think that's the coolest thing.
And it's a good story.
Fucking great.
So, like, go see the documentary when it comes out.
Yes, and we will be plugging it to the high heavens. I mean, it's going to be awesome, so I'm super stoked. What time we got? We got time for questions.
Yeah, dude, we've been talking for a long time.
Dude,
it has flown
and it was
by.
so fucking funny because literally we were like originally no limit, and I was like, okay, we're going to do this in my house. I like set up like a podcast screen. I was like, we cannot fucking do this. So like that's why I booked this place. I was like, 4 hours should be pretty good.
Yeah.
And literally I feel
30
like,
minutes to
I
go.
feel like we're fucking pushing against the time now.
We're like,
fuck.
oh shit.
Yeah.
Now we're getting to questions.
So let's get into questions here too. And full transparency, I haven't seen any of these fucking questions. So yeah, Kilian has hand selected these through his Instagram. So what are the questions on here?
So we'll do some practical ones and we'll do some fun ones. So what did training look like years ago and what were some early mistakes you made? You know, years ago, dude, I was the person who dove straight in without even a Google search, you know? Like my first 100, I was running in size 10.5 La Sportivas and now I'm running in size 12 Ultras.
And dude, what did you bring as nutrition for the first 100?
Yeah, dude, so it was a self-supported 100 where they had aid stations set up, but you had to provide your own nutrition, and I fueled entirely on bananas and Cliff Bars.
You told me that. I thought it was so fucking
Which
funny.
means that I didn't eat for 40 miles. Yeah, and my first 50 took 10 hours, and my second 50 took 31 hours.
Holy shit.
And man,
dude.
Talk about delusional self-belief. After that, I'm like, bro, I can be good at this.
Dude, that's fucking awesome, though. That's fucking great. I love that. It's so good.
I mean, my training looked like nothing, dude. It was just like all over the place. I'm like, I'm going to go do 14ers. I'm going to go for some runs. I'm going to do 7 marathons in 7 days. You know, like whatever, dude.
Yeah.
So I had no idea. Early mistakes, doing too much, for sure. I mean, dude, if you don't hire a coach, do a Google search, you know, listen to some podcasts. I did nothing, you know, because I was arrogant. You know, I'm like early 20s. I'm like, dude, I'm tough. I was a collegiate swimmer. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to kick some ass, you know, and I finished. I did not kick ass. You know? So my biggest mistake was just being arrogant, you know, not accepting the fact that I was like entering a total unknown, you know. And dude, I remember thinking approaching my first 100, I'm like, how different can 100 be from 50 miles? How fucking stupid is that, dude? It's double the distance. You're gonna run through the night. I've never run through the night before. I have a Walmart headlamp. Like, it's crazy, psychotic, you know. I'm running in La Sportiva Bushidos, which are like a minimalist shoe, dude. I lose 7 of 10 toenails. Like, so stupid.
I feel like everybody has an ultra like that, though, where it's just complete.
You're like, what
the fuck is going on?
But dude, you finish that first one, you do a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, for sure, and that's fucking awesome because I feel like it's again relatable, right? Because I feel like everybody has had that ultra. I've had that ultra. A lot of other people, and it's like, look where you are now. It's like you can make those improvements.
Yeah, that came from Oscar Cash.
That's a great name.
I know.
God damn.
I had multiple questions about some vitamins and supplements, and that's one we can handle pretty quick.
Yeah.
So one big change I made this year was starting to take currants, which you've also taken, like a black currant supplement from New Zealand. And that's actually genuinely made a difference.
Yeah.
I've upped my dosage to that. From that, I like do 3 a day typically, but then I do 3 every 4 hours on long runs. And that's like resulted in less fatigue day after and during, and I think of an ability to process more carbs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can you speak to your experience with it at all?
Yeah, I mean, you know, for me, it's really interesting because I started taking it after Tahoe, and the big thing, I mean, you know, I just raced Kodiak, which, you know, I dealt with a lot of like just life kind of stressors kind of going into it that I think like weighed on me a lot more than I kind of just gave it a shot and I was like, let me go in there. But I think about that, and I think if I didn't take it going into Kodiak, it would have been a disaster. And I'm not saying like that was the only thing, but I think it helped a ton because what I would notice is I did a ton of speed going into Kodiak, and usually I would do a speed workout, and the recovery run I would just feel like trashed, which like is expected. Like you put a hard workout in, but I would feel most recovered runs I'm like actually feel like pretty good, and I would feel more recovered going into the next runs, which is great. And I felt that just helped me to bounce back not only for the next day and feel like the recovery run was better, but to show up in the next workout feeling more fresh. Yeah. And I truly believe that if I didn't do that, like, I went to Kodiak just tired, just off, and it was a gamble. Like I made a gamble. I rolled the dice. I was like, let's see how much I can push it in life versus showing up to a race and train hard and do all speed and come off of 200-mile races. And I truly think it helped me to just at least get to that starting line in the best shape I possibly could have. Yeah.
And like you take a lot of things as an ultra runner to try to optimize, and it's questionable whether some of them work. But when something does work, it's noticeable.
And 100%.
So, Currents works. Another supplement that I take is Tungat Ali, help with hormones. I take vitamin D and fish oil. I do a protein shake every day. I take glucosamine. My dog takes it for his joints, and so I was like, fuck it, dude. If it works for him, it might work for me.
I'm about to take some dog biscuits, dude.
So glucosamine, just a few different things. This is a fun one. This comes from Charlie Clacius. I don't know. Have you ever met him?
No.
He's a really good dude. He's also friends with Alyssa.
Oh, nice.
But he said, who are some contenders you would nominate for a Hunks of Ultra calendar? First of all, if you saw a picture of Charlie, dude, him. That guy is shredded to the gills.
February, dude.
I'm happy to be on there.
Dude, I mean, you have to be. So we recorded a reel this morning, and like Kilian had like no shirt looking like a Greek fucking god. And in my mind, I was like, dude, I look already bad next to him. If I didn't have a shirt, I would look like a fucking they'd be like, who is this guy?
But yeah, I mean,
put yourself in February.
I'll be happy to be February.
Okay, cool. Okay.
But Charlie's on there, dude. He's a Calvin Klein model or something like that, too.
Really?
Dude, he is also just...
Wait, is it like a legit Calvin Klein model?
He's a model for something.
Okay.
He's also really fast, really good ultra runner, and shredded. Like, let me tell you. If you think I'm shredded, he's like level 10.
Oh, Jesus.
But, dude, I would also nominate both Truett and Cam Hanes.
Yeah, you got it.
Cam Hanes for the Silver Fox, dude.
Yeah,
and then Truett is just a beast.
Dude, specimen.
Yeah.
Specimen.
Beast.
Who else would you put on that? Man, I'm trying to think of who else. Hunks of ultra running?
Yeah.
I mean, do we say Goggins?
You can put Goggins.
I mean, you got to put...
I'm happy to put
I feel
Goggins.
like it's a lock. I feel like
he's a lock,
clean
dude.
lock.
He's a pretty handsome fellow, and again, shredded.
Just shredded to the gills. And he's 50 fucking one.
And he's been... and he used to be fat.
Yeah, that's like what makes it... Like, it's the aspirational... It's the aspirational
dude,
one in there.
It's even better.
Yeah.
Zach Miller?
Zach Miller, yeah. You know what I'm going to put in there? Harry. Because his fucking quads are huge.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen like the
bro.
His fucking quads are ginormous.
If we're talking quads, I'm going for my buddy Anthony Lee too.
Oh, Anthony Lee's got to. And he's a model.
Yeah,
he's
and
a model.
his quads, I'm like jealous of them when I see them.
Dude,
I'm like, holy shit.
Just fucking massive.
They look they look chiseled.
Yes, Anthony Lee's in there. Who else we got? You know I'm going to go Mike McKnight.
Oh, hell yeah.
Dude,
give it to him,
Mike's fucking shredded. Yeah.
Also used to be fat.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And dude, and so Mike's in there too.
Yeah, dude, you could make this like an inspirational calendar and put side by side.
One quote, just fucking, yeah, exactly. And just be like, oh, I want to be fucking that.
Yeah, like, this is what we used to be.
Yeah,
yeah, bro.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I like that question, though.
That's a good one. Yeah. I think that's a good list. It's a solid list.
Thank you, Charlie.
Yeah, good stuff. And it's a little self-promotion for him, too. He made the calendar.
Bro, he makes. I'll show you a picture of him, and you'll be like,
I
he
need to
makes
see
the
this. I
fucking
wish we had
calendar.
we next thing we gotta have a fucking Jamie. Hey, pull it up.
Yeah, exactly. Like pull it up, pull it up.
Yeah.
This is a good question, and this comes from Andrew.
Redden.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
shout
like,
out.
one city and location to train for the Triple Crown. What do you choose?
Ooh. What would you choose?
I'm going to tell you why. All the reasons I would not choose Grand Junction.
That's where he lives, by the way.
You know, you don't have access to Uray. It's not a cheat code to train there. You know, Uray sucks. It's terrible. Like the Rockies, dude, they blow. You know, I would pick like.
That would be great. No, I'm kidding.
Dude, I live in a good spot to train for the Triple Crown.
Yeah.
I mean, any place where you have a mix of flats and mountains.
Yeah.
Dude, Bishop, California would be really good. Like, I don't know, dude. Salt Lake's probably solid. I wouldn't want to live in Salt Lake with the air quality being so bad all the time. There's a little town in Utah called Panguitch that's like right next to Bryce Canyon National Park.
Shit.
And I don't know why, but I'm like, dude, I could move to Panguitch.
Panguitch.
It's like this big valley. It's right next to Bryce. You've got a ski area close by and this big open valley that doesn't hold snow that much in the winter, but you live at 6,000 feet. St. George would be a good spot. So
Flagstaff?
Flagstaff would be a good spot. Yeah,
You got a lot of flat stuff
yeah.
and you get high altitude.
Yeah.
You might not have as much technical shit for Bigfoot, but yeah.
Anywhere where you can get a mix of flats and mountains.
Yeah, and high altitude.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that helps with Tahoe.
Yeah, for sure.
That makes sense. Yeah, Grand Junction is fucking great.
It's a good spot,
a
but
good
it's
spot.
terrible. Don't move there.
Don't, yeah. You heard it here, folks.
Another question is from Trail Billy Tales. How do you handle burnout? How do you handle burnout, Jim?
I think there's kind of like two different sides of it. I think there's like physical burnout and mental burnout. I think the physical burnout, I've felt the physical burnout this like last block. And this is more kind of like coming back to it. And of course I'd like, talk with athletes and the same stuff too. And I think with physical burnout, like you kind of have to experience it to like know how to do it because everybody's life's going to be different. Right. And I think for me, like the biggest thing is like you want to prioritize what you want to have in life. Well, I guess like the physical side, I'm talking more mental, I guess at that point, but the physical side in general, I would say, you have to pull back. Like that's just the simplest thing. You have to pull back, because physical burnout is your body is literally on red being like, you have done too much and we need rest and recovery. And you are at the point right now where training is not going to lead to really any gains.
Yeah.
It's only going to hurt you more and you got to pull back. So the best thing to handle physical pullback or physical burnout is to pull back. Now, mental burnout's a different story because you can feel physically great, but mentally you can be burned out. And I think the best way to do that is just literally don't focus on like structured training. Don't focus on the goal. Like focus on having fucking fun.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
And like, so for example, like I worked with an athlete who was training for a road 100-miler. And he fucking was not having fun with it. And I was like, well, what do you want to do? He's like, I want to be in the mountains. And I was like, dude, fuck your training for this week. Fuck what I have with you in Training Peaks. Go to the fucking mountains and just have a ball.
Yeah, have fun.
And he's like, what should I do out there? I was like, dude, do
Whatever you
whatever.
want.
Yeah. And he literally went out there, did like 225 miles in the mountains, and he came back. He's like, dude, I love running again. It's amazing. I was like, awesome. So it's like, do the thing that you love. And sometimes like, and that's just maybe burnout about the type of running. You can be burnt out in running in general. And if that's the case, my biggest thing is like, find a hobby that you either love that you put to the side with
Diversify.
running and get in there. And if you don't have one, find one.
Yeah.
Like for me, dude, like I know this is so cheesy. Like I fucking love theme parks. Like I fucking love that shit. So like, dude, like I literally put together like fucking theme park planning thing. It's like so obscure, so out of it, but it has nothing to fucking do with running. And that's the best part. So I think that's the big thing. And then, not to be so long winded on this, but like to go back to what I was initially going to say with both help with physical and mental burnout is like in your life, you need to list out what your priorities are in life.
Yeah.
Like what are your biggest priorities? And then you need to look at your race schedule and what you need to do. And sometimes you might need to tinker around. Like I fucked around and found out with Kodiak Training Block. I was like, how much can I do this? And for me, my priorities are my wife and family, because now we have Simba, the dog, my wife, and that includes like supporting the business that I have there too, right? Business and running. And I think business and running will probably be like two things, but I was like, I want to be the best I can be in all those areas. And then you look at that and you say, okay, with the time, what can I do to be the best in those areas as much as I can be?
Yeah. You can't have everything turned up to 11.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And I think like a quote that haunts me in my sleep is like, you can do anything, but you can't do everything.
Yeah.
So it's like anything that's not in those priorities, cut it the fuck out. And then secondly, like be in that position where it's like, how can I be the best that I can possibly be in these areas without sacrificing too much.
Yeah.
Now you can have seasons, right? Like you can have seasons where it's like, I'm going to go hard on business, put run on the side. That's like me over the next 2 months, right? I'm going to go hard in running and I'm going to put, I shouldn't say the business aside, but it's like you go hard in areas.
Yeah.
And like, if the running is like too hard for an area, you pull back and do the same, or you find a more balanced approach. And I think like that's the biggest thing. And you don't want to dip too much into one of those in the red because A, you're going to get fucking stressed, and B, like you just live a suboptimal life for you. And I think that's how I can handle it. So anyways, long-winded answer.
That's good.
How do you approach it?
I mean, don't half-ass two things, full-ass one thing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I think you covered physical burnout perfectly. I've felt that going into Bigfoot in 2023. It's you just time off. So you need to pull back. On the mental burnout side, so when I was running with Brody in Moab, we were in for the first 50. And I'm not someone who's like, I'm going to give you unsolicited advice. But I was like, hey, Brody, I have one piece of advice for you. And I said, and I felt like such a fucking douche saying it, but I was like, when I was your age, you know? And I was like, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have started that way. I'm like, but I was like, when I was your age, I went to college and I loved swimming. I was passionate about swimming. Now I hate swimming, you know? And I'm like, I've thought about an Ironman. I'm like, God, I don't want to fucking swim, dude.
That's the thing you fucking going to school for.
Yeah. I'm like a Division I athlete, And so I just told him that. And I was like, dude, like, if you ever feel your love of running starting to wane, don't push harder, Like, you don't want to, like, I want to see you running when you're 35 and kicking my fucking ass, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I was telling him this, And, like, that applies to other things. It's just, like, don't let your drive leech the love, We've talked a lot about, like, balancing different aspects of how you push, how you pull back, all those things. And drive and joy and love are compatible, but they can overbalance each other. And so don't let the drive ruin your love for something. Yeah. Because when it becomes not fun, when you start when you let the motivator take over and he's just shattering all the china in your brain, you're not winning that fight. Because that fight's with yourself and it's going to end badly. Like, you're going to spiral, So it's like you just have, I think part of it's being kinder to yourself and part of it's being honest, like, hey, I have overextended or I've put too much into this. Like, I need to take a step back. Yeah.
100%.
So it's just, I don't know. That's just like a warning sign. Like, don't let the love die away.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like, it's one of those things where, you want to have fun with it regardless. And I think it's an important thing to do. And, sometimes you do got to fuck around and find out and see like, how much can I do? And then, it's one of those things, it doesn't have to spiral into that, but like, you got to be mindful of the sign. Yeah. And once you catch it, that's your sign to pull the fuck back, put the ego aside. Yeah. And you got to make the short-term thing that's hard to preserve the long-term love for it.
You can't push through everything.
Yeah, you can't. Absolutely not. It's a great question.
This is from Sophie Lovett. What's your lowest point in ultra? Ever?
You want to take that one? Ever? You want to take that one?
Dude, I mean, my total breakdown in Cocodona 2023 for sure. I mean, when I'm hysterically weeping in front of a friend who I like, I like want him to think of me as like tough and like it's not like I'm embarrassed in that sense because I know he knows what I'm going through, But like when you're that vulnerable to somebody else, dude, everything's at the surface,
Yeah.
I can't even. I'm like literally weeping. Like I'm like throwing my poles on the ground. I like asked him for a hug,
Yeah.
So definitely that for me.
Yeah. Mine was also Cocodona, mile 190, first 200 miler. I completely fucked up my sleep because I was working with the coach at the time and because I didn't know how this is my first 200 was going to this, and we planned my sleep. No fault on the coach, no fault on myself, but like that has clearly been proven to be the wrong strategy, I think. I think it's clear like that is a bad strategy. And it fucked up my sleep. And I was just all over the place, mentally gone. And like it was a scary experience. Like I couldn't control my emotions. I was like crying 1 second. I was laughing. It was just extremely sleep deprived. I was at mile 190 and I was like, I got fucking 60 fucking miles to go. Yeah. And I was just broken. God damn it.
We'll just lose the last 10 minutes of the video.
Yeah, it's fine. And then we'll have it on the audio.
Yeah.
And then I can just put the audio at the end too.
Yeah.
But all that being said, I was just broken. And then I made the realization there. It's like, oh, you just got to accept that this sucks and don't try to like fight it, and just you got to roll with the fucking punches. And that was it. But that was the lowest. And yeah, but very fucking powerful.
Yeah. All right, a couple quick ones. What kind of glasses do you use? My sunglasses are Oakley prescription sunglasses. And then these yellow ones right here, I've gotten a lot of compliments on these.
They're great.
I like them.
They're very distinguishable.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very you thing.
But they're literally $14 with lenses, prescription lenses and frames from iBuyDirect.com. So cheap ass glasses, dude.
$14?
Yeah.
The fuck? That's sick.
If you want cheap glasses, I'm sure they are made in some hellhole in China, But iBuyDirect.com.
Fucking awesome. Oh shit!
I'll answer this one quickly.
It's getting late with the loopiness is kicking in.
I guess this one is just for me, unless you've read one of his books. But what's your favorite Cormac McCarthy novel?
Oh, I cannot answer.
Yeah, I posted a picture of the book I was reading on my way over.
I don't know who that is.
Best novelist ever.
Okay.
Yeah, my favorite book is Blood Meridian, which is what I'm reading right now.
Oh, I remember you posted it,
It's amazing. Yeah, Blood Meridian. The Road's really good. No Country for Old Men, which is also a phenomenal movie.
Oh, okay. I know that. That movie's fucking great.
Yeah, the book's really good too.
Yeah.
One of the best movies ever, I think.
So good.
Yeah, I've read every single book of his. I have I'm going to talk about him for just a second.
Go for it.
I have an unconventional interpretation of his oeuvre because I think that he's a secret optimist and his books are like hyper violent, but I think he's purposefully portraying hyper violence with beautiful prose in order to show you that beauty can exist among like the most insane possible depravity.
Holy shit, that's so deep.
He's a good writer. He's a really good writer. He's like, you look at Jim Walmsley, you're like, I'd never be able to run with him like him, or Kilian or something like that. You like look at them, you're like, I could train my ass off. This could be the only thing. That's not who I meant. I'm not talking in the third person like Caesar or something. But like you look at them and you're like, oh, I could never run like them, no matter how hard I work. And I'm a pretty good writer, but I look at Cormac McCarthy like that. I'm like, oh, I could put in all my time into this one thing and I'd never be that good. Like he's top notch. This is from some dork, Joe Corcione.
Oh, Jesus.
Why do I suck at Uray? Dude, you live in Phoenix.
That's fucking true. That is true.
It's like elevation. What do you tell athletes when they ask how to train at elevation? Because I just tell them you can't. I just try to be as honest as possible because like I'm like, you're going to have to adjust your RPE.
Yeah.
This is the way you'll have to approach it, or you're going to have to show up 2 weeks ahead of time.
Yeah. Right. It's either can you acclimate in some time, which is honestly very logistically hard for most people who have jobs, right? Like it's and it's just expensive, like to live somewhere for 2 weeks, because like that's why altitude acclimation is so tough because it takes a long time. It's not like heat acclimation where it just like is there, like you have to be there for at least 2 weeks, and that's not even full acclimation.
No,
3
but
weeks. You're better,
way better.
So. Like my thing is like if there is no possible way that they can get to altitude, it's just focus on getting fitter because the fitter you are, the better you're going to handle altitude conditions. It's not going to be a perfect substitute. It won't be. But like at that point, it's just focus on fitness. Like you said, adjust your RP, know your paces are going to be slower. So like if you're running 10-minute miles and, you're racing at altitude, it's like you should probably have your pace chart at like fucking 11, 12-minute miles and just know that it's going to be different. And then I think it even gets more complex because some people genetically are going to handle altitude better than others, right? Some people are more responding. So it's like, at that point, unless you've had experiences, it's hard to even make a guess. But it's just, if you can't get out there, just focus on getting as fit as fucking possible. And then just in your pace charts, just put like a handicap on it, just because you need to, and have patience.
And it's one of those things you just have to accept it.
Yeah, you just gotta accept it. It's like one of the things. It's just like, okay, like I am limited here, and that's just
you either accept it or you pick races that you can train more easily for.
Right, 100%.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, we might have time for one more question. Let's see.
I feel like we can probably go a little bit over. Maybe.
Okay, cool.
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe they'll just come in.
They can just fucking sue me.
Yeah. If you could run an ultra with any athlete in history. Any athlete in history, who do you choose and why?
You go first.
Okay. That is a challenging one. I'm gonna it's hard because you specify it to athlete. I'm like, Alexander the Great. Dude, he had to be athletic, bro.
Dude, I mean, he was just fucking good at everything.
But I don't know, dude. I would probably pick,
Is it run an ultra?
So I'm actually going to, I'm going to pick, so the Incan civilization in South America.
Oh, shit.
They had this system of messaging where they had like all these runners on top of these ridges, and they would carry these knots of rope, and that's how they would send messages. So they had like this uber fast postal service because they had this efficient messaging system with knots of rope. I don't know how, nobody knows how to translate these fucking rope things, but they would run, and these people would run. They'd had like outposts every 20 miles. These guys would run like 40, 60 miles a day, you know, in sandals in year 1100, you know?
Yeah.
I'd pick one of those guys because I'd be like imagine how in tune with the world you feel back then, because you break your ankle, you're dead.
Yeah.
You know, like all of your decision making, you don't have the backstop of a hospital.
Right.
You don't have the backstop of like fueling, you know? So imagine how dialed that person is with all the stuff that's spiritual about running.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh my God. Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Fuck, I
That
feel
would
like
be
my
cool.
answer sucks now.
No. What's your answer?
So any athlete?
Yeah.
Dude, my answer sucks.
No, you go for it. Go for it.
Dude, like yours is so thoughtful. Dude, I would dude, like, I don't even know how to say this. It's gonna be fine. I'd pick Eli Manning from the New York Giants. Dude, well, hear me out. Hear me the fuck out. So like, hear me out.
Shit.
Hear me
I'm
out.
just picturing Eli Manning. Dude, that guy is so tall and gangly.
So I'll give the motivational side. So the motivational side is like, dude,
He has to run carrying a football on his helmet like this.
he's got to run in full pads, dude. Yeah. So like, dude, all right. So I mean, I don't watch as much sports now, but like growing up, man, I watched every Giants game. It was fucking awesome. And like, the Giants won, like, so they won the Super Bowl. It was awesome. But then like Eli went on a podcast. And he's like a very unassuming guy. He always got shit on because of the way he looked and stuff. But like they was on a podcast and they're like, do you think you're a top 5 quarterback in the NFL? And he was like, yes, like no hesitation. And like, dude, all like the fucking reporters and everyone was making fun of him. Like, oh, what a fucking joke, top 5 quarterback, whatever. Dude, that season he has like one of the best seasons, and he fucking wins the Super Bowl, puts the team on his back, beats Tom Brady for a second fucking time, proving that the first time wasn't the fluke, and literally like proves that he was one of the fucking best. And I was like, that is so fucking awesome.
This
So,
is
like,
a good answer.
yeah, so, but then on the second flip side, it would be so funny to run with Eli Manning because, dude, how the fuck do you think that would go? Like, no disrespect on Eli Manning. He's not a fucking ultra runner. Like, dude, it'd be so.
No, he wasn't like a running quarterback either.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. He was not a scrambler.
No.
Like, dude, when he ran, everybody would be like, oh, God.
not-
Like, oh, no. Like,
Not known for mobility.
yeah, we were like, no. And so, like, all that being said, it was there. But here's the thing. He never missed a game for injury.
Hell yeah.
He had one of the longest streaks in the NFL. Like, he was the most durable fucking player. Yeah.
Did you ever see the thing where he like dressed up and went to that like
Chad
open
Powers.
college trial? Yeah, dude, that's a good TV show too.
Oh, it's a new TV show.
Yeah, with Glenn Powell.
Yeah, with Glenn Powell. Maybe run with the Chad Powers version of Eli.
That would be so fun.
Yeah, dude.
That's a hilarious answer. We went in different directions.
I know that. That's why I was like, you're sitting there like with all this historical facts, and I'm like, Eli Manning, dude.
Man, that is amazing.
Dude, so good. Well, I'm leaving all the laughs in the podcast too. Like the whole us cracking up. That's staying in there.
Dude, we have hit most of these.
Okay. Is there any more?
I mean, there's like a couple practical things we could probably hit real quick. What are like some staple lifts for ultra runners?
You hit that one because you're a certified strength coach.
Yeah, dude. Like banded work with your glutes, Bulgarian split squats, calf raises, single leg RDLs. You know, lots of single leg stuff. Listen, I'm a big believer in lifting heavy. You know, like I think you should be doing squats. Deadlifts, if you've got lower back issues, don't fucking do deadlifts.
Yeah.
But I like deadlifts. You know, I like some of the heavier single leg stuff, box step ups, that sort of stuff. But if you're getting like at least each major muscle group in your legs and lifting weight, like not body weight, you're doing a good job. You know, like and I mean glutes, hammies. But glutes, dude, big time, like this side butt muscles, you let those things get weak, your knees are kind of going to become wobbly, you know?
Fucked.
You're going to look like you just jumped off a horse for 50 miles. Bling, bling, bling. You know, you don't want that. So that's not awesome. But yeah, single leg stuff. Yeah, dude, we've hit all this.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Dude.
A lot of it kind of effortlessly.
4 hours on the fucking dot.
Yeah.
Damn.
I didn't take all the questions from Instagram because I picked and choose some.
There's a lot.
Yeah, and so if I didn't get you to get to your question, it's like my apologies, not personal.
Well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe we can do another pod sometime. Like,
yeah, dude, we could do a just Q&A at some point. But
I mean, Kilian's going to be a recurring guest. I'm looking at the camera. It's dead. So, like, if you're watching the video version, it's literally probably just a fucking black screen.
Audio at this point.
Yeah, it's audio. So, I mean, I'll put this in the video. You're listening to this, but, like, dude, man, like Kilian's going to be more recurring on the podcast. Like we talked about having him do more content on here.
Yeah, guest host every now and then. I'd
guest
love
host.
to do that.
Yeah, so you'll be on with Jeff and be on Zach when have on. But dude, I can confidently say this was the best podcast we've ever had on the Everyday.
I hope that's true.
Dude,
I hope people like this.
I actually think, I'm not even fucking kidding you, I'm pulling this up right now, which would be fucking insane to think about. But I think this might be close to episode 300.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm not even kidding. I need to fucking actually...
But yeah, dude, right when we started, I knew it was going to be good.
Oh, dude,
because
so
when we
good.
got, like, it took us so long to get to the races.
Oh, dude.
But it was so good. We're just like, yeah, I loved it.
I liked it because, you know, I mean, of course, we had a little pressure time at the end. But, man, it was just so good. I want to look to see what fucking episode number this is going to be because that's going to be fucking cool if it's 300. Let's see. Where are we at? I think... Oh, no. We're over 300. But, like, still.
Dude.
Yeah.
I mean, this is great. Thanks for doing this.
Of course, man. Well, actually, this will be episode 303.
There you go.
So 3 for the Triple Crown. There, I don't know. I'm trying to force
303 is the area code for Denver, you know.
Yeah, but...
I don't live in Denver, but...
You don't really like Denver.
Also, you know, I was about... We could, like... sing a 303 song. You could play it out.
What is
at the
that?
end.
Amber is the color. Yeah, is that's 303, right?
I don't know.
Oh no, that's 311.
It's that one about like.
Wait, is 303 and 311? Yeah, they're different.
No,
right?
they're different. But you could have like "Don't Trust Me."
Oh yeah, that's okay.
Don't
I was
trust me, but
that's the one. I was singing a completely different fucking band.
Yeah.
All right.
But dude, it's been good. This
has been awesome,
really good.
dude. I love you, man.
Love
that was
you
fucking great. And dude. Man, huge congratulations. You have changed the game of ultras, and you know, we were texting this back and forth, and it's only the beginning.
Only
dude.
the beginning.
Only the beginning.
Watch Forged in Failure when it comes out.
Dude, watch Forged in Failure. Follow LIU Creative. Follow Run Tough Mindset on Instagram. We have his Instagram links. We have Substack. Please dive into his content. It's so freaking good. And yeah, man, can't wait to see what's ahead for you.
Yeah, we'll be seeing more of each other.
Absolutely, man. Looking forward to it.